Welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. This is Movie Readings, where I take entire Hollywood scripts and read them from start to finish. Sometimes these take hours to make, so it would really help me out if you could subscribe below and comment with which movies you would like to see in the near future. Of course, you can like or dislike, depending on how you feel about my choice for this video. Without further delay, this is Men in Black from 1997. Enjoy. A million stars wink in the night desert sky. Down here on Earth, an insect, one of those big, beautiful, multicolored four-winged jobs, glides effortlessly on the breeze, wafting along through the crisp Texas air. The insect dips, it banks, it does loop-the-loops, and then splats unceremoniously against the windshield of a white van that's tearing down the road. The driver of the van, a 50-year-old American, turns on the wipers, smearing the remains all over. He squirts some wiper fluid onto the glass, which clears it up a bit, but now he sees something worse up ahead. It's a group of headlights, 8 of them, all pointed at him, sealing off the road. He bites his lip and calls over his shoulder to the back of the van. He speaks in Spanish, which is subtitled. Déjame hablar. Let me do the talking. The van slows to a stop in front of the parked cars. All government issue 4 doors, with INS stenciled on the sides. 7 or 8 INS agents stand in front of the cars imposingly. Their apparent leader steps forward and comes to the window. The driver rolls it down. Agent Janice, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, also government issue, looks at him and sighs. Well, Nick the Dick, what a surprise. Where are you coming from? I was fishing in Cuernavaca. Sure you were. What do you say we have a look at your catch? The agents fling open the rear doors, revealing a dozen frightened Mexicans, hopeful immigrants without official permission. Agent Janice looks at the driver, who's now held by 2 other agents, and shakes his head. Me? I would have thrown him back. And he says to the passengers in Spanish, Vámonos, fuera, hagan una línea. Let's go, get out, form a line. They pile out of the van. Some are parents with small children. What do you get, Nick? $100 a head? 200? I hope you saved it all for your lawyer, pal, 'cause you're gonna need it. He stops in the middle of his sentence, as another car is approaching, fast. Its engine whining as it barrels down the road towards them. Several agents pull out their weapons. The new car pulls a hard right, goes off the road, spins around the INS cars and squeals to a sideways halt, silhouetted in front of their headlights. It's a boxy black 1986 Ford LTD. 2 men get out, dressed in plain black suits, crisp white shirts, simple black ties, shiny black shoes. K, 50-ish, is the apotheosis of world weary. His partner, D, mid-60s, is just weary. They approach the INS agents. We'll take it from here. Who the hell are you? K and D flash some form of ID. INS Division 6. Division 6? I never heard of Division 6. Really? K and D move past him and approach the row of nervous immigrants. What are we thinking, D? Tough call, K. He walks down the row, studying the faces, greeting each one cheerily in Spanish. Oh, ¿qué pasa? ¿Cómo estás? Hey, what's up? How are you? No se preocupe, abuela. Bienvenida a los Estados Unidos. Don't worry, Grandma. Welcome to the United States. ¿A dónde vas? ¿San Antonio? ¿Buscando trabajo? No? Buena suerte. Where are you going? San Antonio? Looking for work, aren't you? Good luck. Es un placer verle aquí. It's a pleasure seeing you here. One by one, their faces relax, reassured by K's calm demeanor. When he reaches the 5th guy, he keeps the same cheery tone, but, ¿Qué dices si te rompo la cara? What do you say if I break your face? The guy smiles and nods. K stops. His own smile broadens, and he drops a hand on the guy's shoulder. No hablas ni una palabra de español, ¿verdad, amigo? You don't speak a word of Spanish, right, friend? Again, the guy smiles and nods. K looks back at D. We got a winner! Los restos están libres a irse. Largarse. The rest of you are free to go. Scram. Sir. Tomen el camión y vayos. Get on the road and go. Sir, you can't just... Don't sir me. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Silence on the road. The driver grins, jumps back in the front seat of the van. The others pile into the rear, and they tear out of there. We're going to have a little chat with our friend here. You boys can hit the road and keep on protecting us from dangerous aliens. K and D escort their captive across the road and over a small rise, leaving the stunned INS agents standing alone in the roadway. You ever heard of Division 6? There is no Division 6. Who are these guys? K and D lead their captive into a clearing in the desert brush. D pulls an enormous handgun from a shoulder holster and stays a pace or two off, covering him. K has an arm draped around the man's shoulders. I think you jumped off the bus in the wrong part of town, amigo. In fact, I'll bet dollars to pesos that you're not. He pulls out a small laser device, which he zips neatly down the front of the man's clothes. From anywhere near here. The man's clothes fall to the ground, revealing what he really is underneath. A scaly space bastard, about 4.5 feet tall, with a snout, snail-like tentacles, and independently moving eyes on stalks at the top of his head. The only part of his camouflage not crumpled to the ground is the human-esque head, which he lamely holds in one of his hands. It's propped up by a stick, like a puppet, and it continues to make expressions as he holds it. Mikey? When did they let you out of jail? Mikey replies, an unfathomable combination of grunts, squeaks, and saliva. Political refugee, right. You know how many treaty articles you've just violated? Mikey makes a lame squeak. One my ass. Try 7. From unauthorized immigration to failure to properly inoculate prior to landing. K, off Mikey's objections. Okay, that's enough. Hand me your head and put up your arms. From behind Mikey, they hear a terrified gasp. K and D both look over quickly. One of the alien's eyes, on a tall stalk, whips around too. All 3 of them see Agent Janice, standing just over the rise, staring in frozen amazement. Ah, shit. Agent Janice screams. Mike rips free of the rest of the Mexican disguise, knocks D out of the way, and takes off straight at Janice, screeching a horrible space bastard screech. Janice freezes, terrified. D, shoot him! D struggles to roll over and change the controls on his gun, which fell out of his hand as he hit the ground. D, for Christ! Mike keeps moving, covering the last few yards to Janice quickly. He steps on a rock, launches himself in the air, his dripping jaws cranked wide open. Then there is a sizzling sound, a brilliant white flash, and Mikey erupts in a geyser of blue goo that spatters all over the ground, the trees, Agent Janice's face. Behind where Mikey was, Kay stands, smoking weapon in hand. On the road, the INS agents pull out their guns and run toward the rise. Kay has an arm around Janice, whom he is leading further into the clearing. Janice is white, shaking, eyes like silver dollars. That wasn't human? I know. Oops, got some entrails on you. He takes out a handkerchief and wipes off the agent's face. As he does, Janice looks back to where Mikey blew up, then at Kay, then up to the stars. The other INS agents burst over the rise, shouting questions. Okay, everyone, situation's under control, calm down. If you'll just give me your attention for a moment, I'll tell you what happened. From over the rise, car engines whine in the distance, and headlights start to flash around them. Kay reaches into his pocket and pulls out a tubular metallic device the size of a pocket recorder. He checks his watch, figures in his head, then dials an electronic counter on the side of the device up to 08. This is called a neuralizer, a gift from some friends out of town. The red eye here isolates and measures the electronic impulses in your brain, more specifically, the ones from memory. Behind him, 6 more men in black, all wearing black suits and sunglasses, come over the hill. Kay barks a few orders to them. Give me a splay burn on the perimeter, please. Holes at 40, 60, and 80. What the hell is going on? An INS agent says. Exactly the right question. And the answer lies right here. Right here. Pay attention. Who are you? Really? Really? I am just a figment of your imagination. He holds up the neuralizer. The agents peer closely at it. Kay reaches into his pocket, pulls out his own black sunglasses, and pushes a button on the side of the neuralizer. A blinding flash, a tenth of a second long, sears the agent's eyeballs. They stare blankly. God, we are a gullible breed. Behind him, tongues of fire blast from a flamethrower held by one of the men in black. Kay looks back at the INS agents, who are just coming around, as if awakening from a concussion. I mean it, fellas, you are lucky to be alive after a blast like that. The agents look around, confused. What blast? Kay gestures behind him where the men in black are now using fire extinguishers to douse the flames they themselves started. Underground gas veins, genius. You guys need to exercise more caution before discharging your firearms. He jabs a finger into Janice's chest. Especially you. Dee has moved away from them all and is sitting on a rock, staring up at the night sky, his sunglasses dangling idly from one hand. Kay steps away from the group and finds him. He sits down next to him. I'm sorry about back there. It happens. Didn't used to. He holds up his hands, which tremble with age. The spirit's willing, Kay, but the rest of me. He looks up at the million shining stars overhead. They're beautiful, aren't they? What? The stars. We never just look anymore. I'll tell you, Kay, I will miss the chase. He pulls his neuralizer from his pocket and looks down at it. No, you won't. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It would really help me out if you could go below and hit subscribe, because YouTube algorithms work on subscribers and also viewership time. So if you could also leave a like and maybe even comment a movie that you would like to see on the channel in the near future. Back to the movie. We cut to Grand Central Station, southern exposure. A shot of the clock on the station's stately southern exposure. We pan down to a pair of feet running. They belong to a man we will know as the perpetrator. As we track with him, he speeds up and out of frame. A new set of feet come into frame. These belong to James Edwards, an NYC cop in undercover street clothes. In the background, about 10 feet behind, are two other cops, trying to keep up. Edwards is a lot faster, though. He pulls out his badge that hangs from a chain under his shirt. Stop! NYPD! He continues running, out of frame, and we see on one of the other cops, overweight, who gives up the chase and drops to his knees, heaving air. All yours, Edwards. The cop fumbles in his pocket for a pack of cigarettes. As they run down the bridge that traverses Park Avenue in the low 40s, the perp veers to the left, and seemingly oblivious to the fact that it's a 30-foot drop, he hurdles the guardrail and drops to 41st Street below. Edwards is surprised by this maneuver, but doesn't waste a second. He too hurdles the guardrail and lands on a double-decker bus, one of those cheesy sightseers that hold up midtown traffic. The bus, of course, is completely filled with Japanese tourists, and it seems like every single one of them has a video camera. Edwards pushes through the crowd. Grand Central Station off to your left, folks. With the bus still moving, he scrambles down the circular stairs and runs out through the side door. He spots the perp sailing east on 41st Street. Damn it, man, you're making me sweat up my gear. Edwards spots one of those New York Post delivery trucks, the kind with the open back door, rumbling by. He runs and jumps into the back. The perp, meanwhile, is running at top speed when Edwards glides into the frame, leaning off the back of the truck. Yo, man, your luck just ran out. He leaps from the back of the moving truck and tackles the perp. The perp, now straddled by Edwards, is terrified. He's coming! He's coming! And when he gets here, I'll kick his ass too. Edwards is about to slap the cuffs on him when the perp blinks. Nothing unusual about that. But then another set of translucent milky white eyelids underneath his regular eyelids blinks also. Edwards is thrown for a moment, which is all the time the perp needs to pull out his weapon, which is the strangest looking gun you've ever seen. Reacting quickly, Edwards bats it out of the perp's hand. The weapon smashes into the stone wall surrounding Central Park and shatters into a million pieces. What the? The perp kicks him in the nuts and scrambles to his feet and takes off again. Edward staggers after him in pain. The perp leaps over a moving car toward the Guggenheim Museum. Edward tries to follow him, but a bus pulls in front of him. After it passes, the perp is gone. Edward runs over to the museum, leans over the wall that surrounds it, and in the next instant, the perp flies past him. Having leapt from 20 feet down to the top of the Guggenheim, he scrambles up and over the ledge. Edward reacts. He runs to the front door of the museum, shoots it open, and runs inside. He runs from the rotunda up a great ramp of the Guggenheim. On the roof, the perp reaches the top, climbs over the edge, and crunches to the gravel surface. He leaps to his feet and races over to a door. It's locked. He tugs on another. It's locked too. He pulls on a third. It swings open, revealing Edwards on the other side, breathing hard. He aims his weapon at the perp. "What's up?" The perp screams inhumanly and panics. He backpedals toward the edge of the roof. "He's coming! He's coming because I failed, and now he'll kill me too." "Stop!" "You don't understand. Your world is gonna end." But the perp has backed right onto the edge of the roof, and now he starts to fall over. The perp blinks. "What are you?" The perp looks down. He decides. And he falls, screaming to his death. Edward sits on one side of a table. A police inspector and a uniformed sergeant, the one who gave up the chase and lit a cigarette earlier, sit across from him. The perpetrator then blinked 2 sets of eyelids. "You mean blinked with both eyes?" "No, sir, he blinked once with one set and then again with a completely different set. Sort of low beam, high beam." "Was that before or after he drew the weapon which you claim evaporated into a million pieces?" "After, sir." "And why do you suppose none of the other officers saw either of these 2 events?" "'Cause some of the other officers are a little soggy in the midsection, and they couldn't keep up, sir." "Hey, Edwards, if you were half the man I am—" "What do you mean? I am half the man you are." "What the hell is your problem?" "My problem is you being all up in my damn face all the time." "I think he threw him off the roof. 10 minutes. Your best shot." "Sergeant, I will talk to you outside. Now." "You need 10 minutes on Stairmaster, you pudgy bastard." A woman sneaks into the room. Dr. Laurel Weaver, 30-ish, dark hair, dark eyes. General aura of darkness around her, stands above him. Laura looks like she was just dragged out of bed, which she was, and saw a spaceman, which she did. She looks over one shoulder once, and then whispers to him. "Laurel Weaver, Deputy Medical Examiner. I believe you. I opened him up. Find me at the morgue on 26th. I'll tell you what I found." "Hey, wait a minute. Laurel turns to the door. "You have really pretty eyes." She hurries to turn the corner, but is stopped by someone who remains just off screen. "Dr. Weaver from the coroner's office, working on the John Doe?" Edwards twists in his chair to get a better look. All he sees is Laurel, facing whoever it is in the hallway. "Yes, that's right." "Would you look right here, please?" Someone says something else, and Laurel steps forward, now also out of Edwards' line of vision. "Look where?" Edwards stretches even further in his seat when there's a blinding flash from the corridor. Really curious now, he starts to get up. Then Kay steps into the room and closes the door behind him. Edwards rolls his eyes. "Some night, huh?" "Oh, yeah, some night." He crosses to the door. "They were gills." Edwards stops. "Not eyelids." "Who are you?" "Did he say anything to you?" Edwards scoffs. "Yeah, sure. He said the world was coming to an end." "Did he say when?" "You're kidding, right?" "Would you recognize his weapon if you saw it again?" "Absolutely. Let's take a ride." "Wait a minute, I got a ton of paperwork." "It's all done." At that point, the inspector sticks his head in, smiles, and gives Edwards the thumbs up. "Good work, Edwards." Edwards looks at the inspector, then at Kay, as they leave. "You ran that guy down on foot? That's tough. That's double tough." In a plain, boxy Ford, Kay drives silent. He raises his hand and nods to a black MIB truck coming in the opposite direction. Edwards, in the passenger seat, is still in his undercover outfit. So who you with? Kay says nothing. You got plain clothes, government-issued wheels, Secret Service, CIA? Kay remains utterly silent. Yeah, well, whoever it is, you're short on funding, referring to the car. Nothing is what it seems, kid. Oh, yeah? My bad 86 Ford LTD. What a luxury ride. Come on, who you with? Cade pulls the car to a stop. I'm part of a secret organization that monitors and polices alien activity on Earth. Kay opens the door and gets out of the car. Edwards follows. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It would really help me out if you could go below and hit subscribe, because YouTube algorithms work on subscribers and also viewership time. So if you could also leave a like and maybe even comment a movie that you would like to see on the channel in the near future. Back to the movie. Edwards looks around, sees her standing in front of a pawn shop. This is where we're going? They get out of the car. Jack Jeeves? Guy buys from chain snatchers. Doesn't even sell guns. Really? Alright, you think it's worth shaking him up? Fine, I'll do my thing. Then, I want some answers. Do your thing, kid. Edward goes inside. Jack Jeeves is a sleazy, sarcastic proprietor of the pawn shop. He's not easily intimidated. Officer Edwards, geez, how'd these get here? I thought I turned them into the proper authorities. He casually brushes some Rolexes off the counter. The way I hear it, Jeeves, you got into something a little hotter than some stolen Rolexes. Sure, I'm a big crack dealer now. I just work here 'cause I love the hours. This pisses Edwards off. He grabs Jeeves by the collar, getting angry. I'm talking about guns, Jeeves. High-tech stuff. Come on, Edwards. What you see is what I got. Why don't you show him the imports, Jeeves? At the sound of Kay's voice, Jeeves suddenly pales, a look of fear coming over his face. Hiya, Kay. How are you? The imports, Jeeves. Now. You know I got out of that business a long time ago, Kay. Why do you lie to me? I hate when you lie. He pulls his own gun and aims it at Jeeves' forehead. Whoa, 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 hold on a minute here. I'm going to count to 3. Edwards, seeing that Kay is getting somewhere, joins in the routine. He'll do it, Jeeves. 1. I've seen him do it. 2. Talk to me, Jeeves. He's crazy when he's like this. He's always crazy. Now to Kay. Take a cruise. Get a massage. 3. Kaboom. Kay blows Jeeves' head off, and Jeeves' body collapses to the floor. Edwards is shocked. Edward pulls out his own weapon and points it at Kay's head. Put down the gun and put your hands on the counter. I warned him. Drop the weapon. You warned him. You are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Will you relax? Jeeves, irritated. Don't do that. Edwards whirls around to see Jeeves' body growing another head. Only takes 4 or 5 seconds. Kay calmly shoves his head up against Jeeves' baby-soft new cheek. Do you know how much that hurts? Show us what you got, Jeeves, or I'll use up another one. Jeeves, panicked, hits a button on the underside of the counter, which promptly flips over, revealing yet another dusty shelf piled high with junk. But this is all alien junk. Weapons, mostly. Bizarre. Otherworldly weapons of all shapes and sizes. Edwards, still dazed by Jeeves' regrown head, glances around at all the weapons. This is what I saw. Kay looks at Jeeves, pissed off. You sold a carbonizer with implosion capacity to an unlicensed cephalopoid. He looked all right to me. A carbonizer is an assassin's weapon, Jeeves. Who was the target? I don't know. Kay raises the weapon again, threatening. Jeeves! I don't know! Kay lowers his gun, gestures to the shelf full of weapons. This is all confiscated. All of it. I want you on the next transport off this rock, or I'll shoot you where it doesn't grow back. Jeeves nods, point taken. Kay leaves. Yeah, and I'll be here tomorrow for all those Rolexes. Shaken, Edwards follows. Edwards staggers out of the shop, trying to get the day's events straight in his head. The eyelid's fine, the jumping thin fine, and the gun fine, but the head? Searching for a handle on the moment here? Place to file all this? A head doesn't do that. It doesn't just grow back. What's going on? Can't help you, kid. Only comfort I can offer is that tomorrow you won't remember a thing. Oh no, I'm going to remember this for a long, long time. Kay pulls the neuralizer from his pocket. He hesitates for the briefest of moments, as if this particular neuralization is different than all the others. Then he puts on his glasses. Ever seen one of these? The flash dims on Edwards and Kay, sitting at a table in a Chinese restaurant. Kay finishing a joke, and the wife says, "Yeah, Harry, I know, but this one's eating my popcorn." He bursts out laughing. Edwards, across from him, is completely disoriented. He looks down. There's a half-eaten order of broccoli beef and several empty bottles of beer on the table in front of him. Huh? Kay checks his watch. Oops, gotta run. Thanks for the egg rolls. Where am I? See what I mean about tequila? You're a bright young man, James. Just lay off the sauce. I'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp. He turns and walks out. Edwards checks his watch. A waitress appears. Another beer? Coffee, please. She walks off. Edwards looks at the table. There's a business card lying next to his plate, on which Kay has handwritten, James D. Edwards, Saturday, 9 a.m., 504 Battery Drive. Edwards looks at it, puzzled. He turns the card over and looks at the other side. There's not much there. No name, no phone or fax number, no email address. Just 3 letters dead in the middle of the card. M.I.B. A lonely farmhouse stands amid the fields of upstate New York farm country. Several lights are on, and through a window we can see a silhouette of a man sitting at a kitchen table. The silhouette of a woman hovering over him, bringing things to him. The man, Edgar, waves his arms, ranting. I go out. I work my butt off to make a living. All I want is to come home to a nice clean house with a nice fat steak on the table. But instead, I get this. I don't even know what you call this. In the sky above, it's one of those brilliant star fields. But something strange is happening with one of the stars. It's getting bigger. I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like poison. Don't you take that away. I'm eating that, damn it. It is poison, isn't it? No, the star isn't getting bigger. It's moving towards us, fast. It goes from a pinpoint to a dime to a nickel to a quarter and works its way into fruit metaphors. I swear to God, I would not be surprised if it was the way you skulk around here like a dog been hit too much or ain't been hit enough. I can't make up my mind. Okay, we're past watermelon now. That thing is huge, and it's starting to glow red hot as it enters the Earth's atmosphere, heading straight towards us, coming here to Beatrice and Edgar's place. The blazing fireball barrels through the sky, snaps off a couple of trees. You're useless, Beatrice. The only thing that pulls its weight around here is my goddamn truck. And slams right through a pickup truck parked in the driveway. A concussive blast follows, then a geyser of smoke and flame erupts. Stay here! The silhouette of Edgar leaps to its feet, races to the door, and throws it open. Edgar is everything his voice led us to expect, a nasty, bug-eyed redneck carrying a 12-gauge shotgun. His mouth agape, he walks across the yard and stares at the hulking shell that was his truck. The skeleton of the truck is still there, but there's a huge smoldering hole in it, a hole that goes at least 10 feet down into the ground. Figures. He walks to the truck and touches the door handle. Hot. Using his shirt tail, he opens the door and peers down into the hole. In the hole, he sees a smooth curve of metal and a few blinking lights. Embedded into the ground is indeed a spaceship, maybe 8 feet across. Beatrice calls from behind him, standing in the door fearfully. What is it, Edgar? Turns to her. Get your big butt back in that house. Beatrice does as she's told, closing the door behind her. Edgar turns back to the smoldering rock, raising his shotgun in defense. An otherworldly voice comes from deep in the hole. Place projectile weapon on the ground. Edgar staggers back a step, terrified. But then he regains himself, raises the weapon, and steps forward, pointing it menacingly down into the hole. You can have my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead fingers. There is a pause while the voice thinks about this offer. Finally it responds, in a voice and cadence remarkably similar to Edgar's. Your proposal is accepted. A long, hairy pincer flashes out of the hole, grabs Edgar by the head, and pulls him down into the hole. From deep in the hole we hear a terrible ripping sound like a bedsheet being torn in half. There are some disgusting gushy sounds, and then a moment later, something flies out of the hole and flops onto the ground next to the truck. It's Edgar. Well, sort of. His body parts still hang together. Face, arms, legs, even clothes. but everything inside has been removed, and now he just lies there, flat and empty, like a tuxedo on the floor after the prom. The shotgun flies out and lands beside him. Beatrice sits at the kitchen table, terrified, still wiping away tears from Edgar's diatribe. The door opens and Edgar comes back into the kitchen, seemingly fleshed out again, leaving the door hanging open behind him. He carries the shotgun. She looks up at him anxious, but his face is a blank. What on earth was that? He looks at her strangely. When he speaks, his voice is different than before, more refined. Sugar. Pause. She looks out the window, at the smoking truck. I've never seen Sugar do that. Give me sugar. Puzzled, Beatrice gets up, goes to the cabinet, and grabs a bag of sugar. She holds it out to him. In water. Frightened, she takes a glass of water from the table. She dumps some of the sugar into it. More. She puts more, till the glass is brimming. She stirs it quickly with a knife and hands it to him, her hand trembling. Edgar takes it and downs it in a single gulp. Beatrice stares at Edgar, no idea what to think. She notices something odd about the skin on his neck. Edgar, your skin, it's just hanging off your bones. Edgar drops the glass and looks in a window to catch his reflection. He reaches up and twists his whole face as if adjusting a ski mask, then tucks the skin of his neck back into his shirt collar. He looks at her. Is that better? Beatrice faints. Stillness. Silence. A loud scraping sound comes from the pit left, rises out of the pit, wavers, keeps moving, and finally crunches to the ground outside the pit. Edgar climbs out of the pit, breathing heavily. He dusts himself off, continues pushing the ship along the ground, off into the darkness. The next morning, Edwards, holding the small MIB business card in his hand, compares the address written down by Kay to the address on the utterly nondescript building in front of him. It's 7 stories high, gray, windowless, perfectly square, squatting on a bridge over the road like a fat guy on the John. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It would really help me out if you could go below and hit subscribe, because YouTube algorithms work on subscribers and also viewership time. So if you could also leave a like and maybe even comment a movie that you would like to see on the channel in the near future. Back to the movie. Edwards steps through a heavily barred metal door and into a long, bizarre room. One wall is entirely dominated by an enormous blades of a tunnel vent air intake. There is an elevator at the far end of the room and an old security guard, the rent-a-cop kind, reading a comic book on a folding metal chair halfway across. Edwards walks across the room, his footsteps echoing. The guard looks up. Help you? Maybe, I'm not sure. I got this card. Elevator. Press the call button. He goes back to his comic book. Edwards, maybe out of nothing more than curiosity at this point, walks across the room towards the elevator. As he draws close, the elevator doors whoosh open, expecting him. Edwards steps inside and turns around. The doors close. He pushes the call button and waits, but the elevator doesn't move. Instead, doors on the other side of the elevator slide open silently behind him. Edwards waits, unaware. From behind him, someone clears their throat. Edwards turns around and finds himself standing in an interview room. This back room is every bit as mysterious and unfamiliar as the entryway. Standing at the front of the room is Zed, a wiry-haired career G-man, an old-school bureaucrat, wearing the exact same kind of suit that Kay had on last night. 6 other hot recruits sit in egg-shaped chairs, staring at Edwards. One chair is empty. You're late. Sit down. Edwards takes the remaining chair. The elevator doors slide shut. Zed continues addressing the recruits. My name is Zed. You're all here because you're the best of the best. Marines, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, NYPD. They all turn and regard Edwards a little smugly. He gives it back. And we're looking for one of you. Just one. What will follow is a series of simple tests designed to quantify motor skills, hand-eye coordination, concentration, stamina. I see we have a question. Edward's hand is up. Indeed up. Why, I'm sorry. It's just no one really asked this, but why exactly are we doing this? Silence. Then one of the young recruits eagerly raises his hand. Zed calls on him. Son! Loud and formal. Jake Jensen, West Point, graduated with honors. We're here because you're looking for the best of the best of the best, sir! Edwards tries to stifle a laugh, but can't. What's so funny, Edwards? I don't know, sir. This guy, best of the best of the best of the best. Nobody is with him on this. It just struck me as... Now he's totally serious. Humorous, sir. Short pause. Then Zed continues. Okay, let's get going. The recruits scribble away at a written test. It's a thick document. Reasoning skills, general knowledge, diagrams. The recruits seem to be really powering through it, filling in answers after answer. But no desks have been provided for them. They're all still in their chairs, writing uncomfortably on their thighs or knees. Edwards is really struggling. He writes 2 words on one answer, then decides to erase it. The lack of a writing surface is driving him crazy. His pencil even tears through the paper. He looks up. In the middle of the tile floor, there is an unused table. Edwards gets up, goes to it, grabs hold, and drags it, screeching deafeningly back to his chair. Everybody looks up, wincing at the horrible sound that fills the room. Edwards sits back down, now writing on the table. That's better. Zed raises an eyebrow. He stares at Edwards, then looks up toward a smoky glass window. Behind the dark glass, a figure stands, staring unemotional. MIB building, shooting gallery. 7 weapons rest on a table in the middle of the otherwise empty triangular room. The 7 recruits stand in front of the table. There's an odd moment, where everyone sort of looks around at each other at the blank walls. Any of you guys know what we're doing here? Marine, clipped, unquestioning. Looking for the best of the best of the best. Edwards, who can't help but smile. Well, yeah, I know, but... And then suddenly, 2 far walls pull apart. The whole room pulsates, and the air is suddenly filled with a bewildering swirl of stroboscopic images, both human and alien. Everywhere is color, light, and movement, a holographic mass of strange shapes and characters moving simultaneously. The recruits lunge for the weapons, snapping them up and taking aim. 6 shots are fired at once, and then, a second later, a 7th shot is fired. Everyone stares at Edwards, who put his gun down last. There's an awkward silence. Then the door opens, light pours in, and Zed with it. Even the highly competitive cadets can't help but feel some sympathy as Zed walks straight towards Edwards. The hell happened? Hesitated, sir. Zed looks into the gallery. Most obvious in the frozen tableau of creatures is a lunging, snarling beast, which has 3 bullet holes in its chest. Next to it is a massively deformed humanoid creature with a large hook for a head, who also has 3 holes in it. In the back corner of the gallery there is a single bullet hole in a pretty 8-year-old girl. May I ask why you felt little Tiffany deserved to die? She was the only one that actually seemed dangerous at the time. And how did you come to that conclusion? Hookhead guy, you explained to me how he could think with a hook for a head. Answer, it's not his head. His head is that butt-ugly beanbag thing over there, 'cause if you look at the snarling beast guy, he's not snarling. He's sneezing. He's got tissues in his hand. No threat there. And anyhow, these girl's books were way too advanced for an 8-year-old's, and besides, from where I'm looking, she was the only one who appeared to have a motive, and I don't appreciate your jumping down my throat about it. Sideways glances from the other recruits. Zed sighs. Or do I owe her an apology? Zed and Kay stand behind smoked glass, staring at the recruits, who are still in the shooting gallery, waiting for a decision. He's got a real problem with authority. So do I. The guy ran down a cephalopoid, Zed, on foot. Tenacity. That I can use. I hope you know what you're doing. Zed turns and walks away. Kay stares through the glass at Edwards, who stands alone on one side of the room, apart from the rest of the group. Zed reappears on the side of the glass, coming through a door and into the shooting gallery. As he talks, Kay turns and walks off. Congratulations! You're everything we've come to expect from years of government training. Now, if you'll just follow me, we have one more test to administer, an eye exam. The recruits follow Zed out of the shooting gallery into a long hallway. Zed motions them off to the left. Edwards is the last one out of the room, but he stops as he steps into the hallway. Kay is outside of the door, waiting for him. Edwards recognizes him from last night. "You, hey, what's going on?" The other recruits continue down the hall with Zed. Kay doesn't answer, just gestures to Edwards to follow him down the hall, which he does. "Back in the mid-50s, the government started a little underfunded agency with the simple and laughable purpose of making contact with a race not of this planet." As they pass an alcove, Edwards notices the 6 other recruits who have been herded into a corner. Zed, addressing them, pulls a neuralizer from his pocket. "Now, if you'll look directly at the end of this device." He holds a neuralizer up in front of them, and the recruits stare obediently at it as Zed slips on a pair of black sunglasses. Edward stares, fascinated. But Kay's hand reaches in and yanks him away, just as Zed's neuralizer flashes white. As Kay leads Edwards down an impossibly long corridor, he hands him a file folder stacked thick with 8x10 photographs. He hands Jay the first picture, a shot of 8 or 10 men in plain black suits standing around a 50s-style office with metal desks and fluorescent lights. D and Zed are there, much younger. Everybody thought the agency was a joke, except the aliens. They made contact on March 2nd, 1961, outside New York City. Another photograph, a grainy black and white image of 2 ships hovering in the night sky, classic flying saucer shapes. There were 9 of us that night, 7 agents, an amateur astronomer. Yet another photograph, this one showing a young Kay in a shirt and tie, holding a bouquet of flowers, staring at the open door of the landed flying saucer. Alien shapes are visible within. "You brought the alien flowers." Kay steers Edwards to the right, down another corridor, just as long as the first. "They were intergalactic refugees with a simple request. Let us use the Earth as an apolitical zone for people without a planet. Ever seen Casablanca? Same thing. No Nazis. We agreed, so we masked all the evidence of their landing." Another picture, this one of the 1964 World's Fair grounds, still under construction. Giant models of rockets mark the fair's theme of space travel. Most prominent in the construction are 2 tall towers, with the flying saucers now mounted at the top of each. The 1964 World Fair was a cover-up? Why else would they hold it in Queens? Now left. More non-humans arrive every year. They live among us, in secret. I see. Not to change the subject, but when was your last CAT scan? Every 6 months. It's company policy. Well, thanks for the very amusing morning, but I'm hoping you'll show me the door where I came in, 'cause this is where I go out. They have stopped next to an unmarked door. Kay throws it open and steps inside. Yeah, sure, hang on. I want to grab a coffee while we're right here. As Kay walks into the kitchenette, Edward's jaw drops. His eyes widen, and he stares in wonderment at 3 worm-like aliens standing around a water cooler. Tall, impossibly thin, most certainly not from New York. The aliens hold an animated conversation in a language that seems like a combination of Esperanto and microphone feedback. Kay, to the aliens, "Don't tell me we've only got that powdered shit for cream again." One of the worm aliens answers him in their native tongue and points to the counter. Oh. He finds the cream sitting out on the counter where the aliens indicated, dumps some in his coffee, and comes back outside, closing the door behind him. He reaches up, gently pushes Edward's jaws up, closing his mouth. For future reference, this is a better look for you. Edwards, thrown for a major loop, sits like a zombie alongside Kay in the bench of Battery Park. Kay drinks his coffee while they talk. Any given time, about 1,500 landed aliens are on the planet. Majority right here in Manhattan. Most aliens are decent enough, just trying to make a living. Cab drivers? Not as many as you'd think. Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. Don't want one either. They're happy. They think they've got a pretty good bead on things. Why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it. A person is smart. People are dumb. Everything they've ever known has been proven to be wrong. 1,000 years ago, everybody knew as a fact that the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, they knew it was flat. 15 minutes ago, you knew we humans were alone on it. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow. So, what's the catch? What you'll gain in perspective, you'll lose in ways you're too young to comprehend. You give up everything. Sever every human contact. No one will ever know you exist. Ever. Nobody? You're not even allowed a favorite shirt. There. That's the speech I never heard. That's the choice I never got. Hold up. You tracked me down, put me through these stupid-ass tests. Now you're trying to talk me out of it? I don't get it. You got till sunup. Is it worth it? You find out. You let me know. Almost nighttime now. The park is empty. Edwards is still on the bench and still thinking. Above him, the stars are coming out. Slowly he looks up into the vastness of the heavens. The next morning, a door opens on a garage and an Orkin man steps inside, carrying a tank of toxic gas. The morning light spills on an abundance of spiders, crawling everywhere. Big ones, small ones. Hundreds of them have moved in and taken over this dusty place. The Orkin man sighs and sets down his tank. Well, moving right in, are we? Think we own the place? He unfurls a hose from the side of the tank. Got a little eviction notice for you, boys. He raises a mask to his face and unscrews the handle on top of the tank. Lethal gas starts to hiss from the end of the hose. Just what exactly do you think you're doing? The Orkin man turns around. Edgar stands in the doorway to the garage, staring at him disdainfully. Taking care of your pest problem. Pest problem? Pest? Yeah, you got a hell of an infestation. Edgar advances on him slowly. You know, I have noticed an infestation here. Everywhere I look, in fact. Nothing but undeveloped, unevolved, barely conscious pond scum. So convinced of their own superiority as they scurry about their short, pointless lives. Well, yeah. Don't you want to get rid of them? In the worst way. Edgar lashes out quickly, jerking the mask off the Orkin man's face with one hand and shoving the gas hose down his throat with the other. The Orkin man's car keys drop to the garage floor, and Edgar picks them up. A 6x10 sheet of plywood thuds to the driveway outside the garage. Edgar raises one end of it, so it's hanging off the back of the end of the Orkin man's van. Now it's a ramp. He walks off, and we hear that familiar scraping sound again. Edgar grunts with the effort, slowly pushing his spaceship up the ramp and into the back of the Orkin truck. Edward stands in the middle of the tunnel vent room, the same one he first came into yesterday. The elevator doors open and Kay, obviously summoned by the old security guard, stands waiting for him. Edwards walks briskly forward and gets in the elevator with Kay. Inside the elevator, the doors whoosh shut. Kay turns a key in a certain floor number, and the descent begins. Edwards continues. All right, I'm in it because there's some next level shit going on around here, and I'm with that. Before you beam me up, there are a couple things we need to get straight. You chose me, because you recognize the skills. So as of now, you cease with all that calling me son or kid or sport, cool? Cool, Slick. Now about those skills of yours? The elevator doors slide open on Men in Black headquarters. As of this moment, they don't mean much. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. A huge multi-leveled of 60s design, polished steel and glass. The workplaces are sleek and uncluttered, manned by both humans and aliens. Most of the aliens stay in the background, like the upside-down guy who walks on the ceiling, shuffling papers. Kay and Edwards step off the elevator onto a platform that looks out over the whole place. Kay leads him down into the complex. First, they walk past a sort of passport control center, where a human bureaucrat at a desk is checking the documents of a line of aliens who just arrived. There are a dozen bizarre life forms in that line, chatting in half a dozen different alien tongues. Edward slows as they pass, listening to the passport control officer as he addresses an Archelian, a large humanoid visitor. Purpose of trip? Diplomatic mission. Duration of stay? Lunch. Carrying any fruits or vegetables? Edwards just stares, fascinated, but Kay grabs him by the arm and hurries him along. Let's go. He's a little grouchy. Kay moves him into the central hall. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It would really help me out if you could go below and hit subscribe, because YouTube algorithms work on subscribers, and also viewership time. So if you could also leave a like and maybe even comment a movie that you would like to see on the channel in the near future. Back to the movie. Couple hours wait after a 17 light year flight would get on anybody's nerves. What branch of the government do we report to? None. They started asking too many questions. So who pays for all this? Oh, we hold a few patents on gadgets we confiscated from our out-of-state visitors. Velcro, microwave ovens, liposuction. At the storage cage, Kay turns a key in the lock of the caged-in area and throws the door open. Inside, there are piles of sophisticated-looking devices stacked on shelves and tabletops. Kay picking something up. Here, a new recording device to replace CDs. Now I gotta buy the White Album again. This is amusing. Universal translator. He holds up a cylindrical metal tube and a small wire clip that looks like a lapel microphone. We're not supposed to have it. I'll tell you why. Human thought is so primitive, it's considered an infectious disease. Makes you proud, doesn't it? Edwards picks up a small yellow ball from one of the shelves. What's this? Don't touch that! The ball zings out of Edwards' hands. It flies into a main complex, hits the ceiling, and ricochets around the room, faster than the eye can follow. Various shots of humans and aliens ducking, dodging, and jumping out of its way. On Kay as he calmly, a little wearily, slips on an old-looking metal glove over his right hand. He raises his hand, and the yellow ball zings into it. Kay catches the ball calmly. Caused a 77 New York blackout. Practical joke by the great attractor. He thought it was funny as hell. They leave the room. Sorry. On the main floor, they walk briskly across the room, reaching a giant screen on the far wall. Observation, the heart of our little endeavor. The screen displays a map of the world on which thousands of tiny lights blink in all parts of the globe, log lines of data flashing next to them. This map shows the location of every registered alien on Earth at any given time. Some of them we keep under constant surveillance. He hits a button on the console, and the map is replaced by hundreds of boxes, each with smaller video images. Everyone on these screens is an alien. To the public, normal. In private, you get the idea. On the screens, we see live images of aliens. Aliens who look like aliens are in spots where they can't be seen. Aliens who look human are functioning right out in public, including Sam Donaldson, Michael Jackson, and Tony Robbins. Meet the twins. Kay gestures to two small bony creatures with 8 arms each and single eye growing out of a central stalk in their heads. They turn around and wave 2 or 3 arms each. I gotta be honest about something. Makes no sense? It makes perfect sense. When I was a 3rd grader in Philadelphia, they told me I was crazy because I swore that our teacher was from, Venus or something. Mrs. Edelson. Edwards, stunned, looked at Kay as 4 Eyes boots her onto the screen. Mean face, cat glasses, bony fingers, extremely well-hidden tail. Jupiter, actually. Well, one of the moons. With their remaining arms, they punch button after button on the enormous console. Zed, who is standing up close to the screen, walks over to Edwards, sizing him up. What's your jacket size, Edwards? 40, regular. Then let's put it on. Put on what? The last suit you'll ever wear. Like the rest of the place, the MIB locker room is all white. White walls, white floors, white ceiling, white lockers. Zed's voice comes over. From now on, you'll dress only in attire specially sanctioned by MIB Special Services. Edwards reaches out and opens a white locker, revealing a black suit hung from a hanger in the middle. Above it, on the shelf, a black hat and a pair of black sunglasses. On the bottom, a pair of shiny black shoes. Kay is at a computer terminal. On screen are Edwards' birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, library card, everything. Zed's voice continues. You'll conform to the identity we give you. Eat where we tell you. Live where we tell you. You get approval for any expenditure over $100. Edwards stands in a cramped white booth. He holds both his hands on a 10-fingered keypad, pressing down hard. The pad glows red. A searing sound comes from his hands, and he grimaces as more lasers instantly, and not at all painlessly, change his fingerprints. You will have no identity mark of any kind. You will not stand out in any way. One by one, Kay deletes Edward's identity cards. On the computer screen is Edwards' full name, James Darrell Edwards III. Kay punches a couple of keys, and the cursor begins to sweep from right to left, starting to eliminate the rightmost letters of Edwards' name. Your entire image is carefully crafted to leave no lasting memory whatsoever with anyone you encounter. Pants come off the hanger. The white shirt is removed. More letters are eliminated from his name. It reads James Darrell Ed, then James Dare. You're a rumor, recognizable only as deja vu and dismissed just as quickly. You don't exist. You were never born. The coat is removed. The hat comes off the shelf. Anonymity is your name. Silence your native tongue. James, Jam. You are no longer part of the system. We are above the system, over it, beyond it. Feet slip into black shoes. A belt is buckled. A tie pushed up. We're them. We're they. On screen, all that's left is the letter J. As the coat is buttoned, we notice the sleeve. Monogrammed on the cuff is simply the letter J. We are the men in black. Looking slick and handsome in his extremely sharp suit, James D. Edwards III, or rather, J, steps into the doorway from the locker room. He reaches into his pocket, takes out the sunglasses, and looks at Kay. The difference between you and me? He slips on the sunglasses. I make this look good. We are now looking at a telephoto shot of Manhattan in all its splendor. We see the Orkin van topping a hill, heading towards Manhattan. Zed's office is a circular windowed room elevated above the main floor of MIB headquarters. Jay and Kay sit across the desk from Zed. There are 5 video monitors on a wall behind Zed's desk. On each monitor is another Men in Black in different parts of the world, the city name, and a clock ticking in the corner of the image. While Zed talks, he goes through paperwork on his desk. Okay, let's see. To one of the monitors. B. We got the disposed Sir Perfect of Signally touching down on a forest outside Portland tonight. I'm pulling you down from Anchorage to do a meet and greet. B. An agent on one of the monitors nods. Humanoid? You wish. Bring a sponge. Going through memos. What else? Everybody, we gotta keep rolling Fish Goat out of the sewer systems. He's scaring the rats, and Bobo the Squat wants to reveal himself on unsolved mysteries. B. Make sure he doesn't. He turns a page, coming across a red memo. Red letter from last night. We had an unauthorized landing somewhere in upstate New York farm country. Keep your ears open for this one, Kay. We're not hosting a galactic kegger down here. Next to him, his computer screen beeps importantly. Zed looks over at it. Well, we've got a skimmer. K to J. Landed alien out of zone. To Zed. Who is it? Redgick. He's not cleared to leave Manhattan, but he's way out of town right now, stuck in traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike. Why don't you take K? This is a good one for him to warm up on. J and K come out in front of MIB headquarters. Yo, what's up with Zed? Go get him, Tiger. We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger. Zed was saving the world before you were born, son. Show some respect. An MIB mechanic pulls up in K's black LTD and hops out, leaving the door open. Jay sizes up the car. We got the use of unlimited technology from the entire universe and we cruise around in this? K glares at Jay. He's getting annoyed. They get in and slam the doors. K starts the car and the engine hums quietly. Seat belt. You know, y'all gotta learn to talk to people. You could be a little kinder and gentler. K grits his teeth. Buckle up, please. Now did that hurt? Kay shifts the car into reverse. The awesome power of the car kicks in, and Jay sails forward, thwacking into the dash. Kale shifts into forward and taps the gas, slamming Jay back into his seat. Making fun of my ride. A lighted panel rotates into place between the 2 front seats. Jay's hand falls by accident on a flashing red button in the panel. Jay, the button. Yeah? Never push the button, Jay. Jay jerks his hand away. The LTD is now stopped by the side of the road, dust swirling around it. Ahead of it, another car has pulled over. Kay gets out. Jay follows a moment later, shaky-legged. Kay walks up to the window of the car they've stopped. The driver, a guy in his mid-30s, with a wife in her mid-30s, rolls the window down. "License and registration, please." The driver hands over some documents. Kay flips through them. "Other license and registration, please." The guy digs out 2 other cards and hands them over. Jay peers over Kay's shoulder. The photographs on the resident alien ID card are 2 friendly-looking reptile types, husband and wife, smiling at the camera, their long, skinny tongues dangling in a friendly sort of way. Kay hands them back. "Your resident card has you restricted to the 5 boroughs only. Where do you think you were going?" "It's my wife. She's well, look." Kay leans down and looks in the window. Mrs. Redgick is in front, moaning in pain, holding her swollen belly. Kay straightens up fast. "Oh, God. How soon?" Mrs. Redgick screams in pain. "Real soon." For the first time since we've seen him, Kay is nervous. "Okay, all right, no big deal." To Jay. "You handle it." "Me?" "Sure, it's easy. You just sorta catch." Mrs. Redgick screams again. Redgick gets out of the car, worried. "Are you sure he knows what he's doing?" "Yeah, hell, sure. He does this all the time. Come on, let him work." "Redgick, I want to ask you something." Kay gives Jay a supportive slap on the back and leads Redgick away to the rear of the car. Jay stays in the background and opens the rear door tentatively. He leans down into the car. "Oh, God, I see it, I see it, I see it!" A few yards from the car, Kay turns Redgick to face him. "Croag, the midwife's back on 64th and 8th. You were headed out of town." "Well, we were, meeting someone." Suddenly, a tentacle whips out from between Mrs. Redgick's legs, cracks the whip once, and wraps around the doorpost, grabbing hold. "Oh, sweet mother of God, did you see that?" Kay, still to Redgick. "So, who you meeting?" "Well, it's a ship." "Really? I don't see a departure clearance for today." "You didn't, well, it was an emergency." Now a second tentacle whips out, but this one wraps around Jay's neck and pulls tight. He gasps, choking. Guys! "Doing fine, Ace." Back to Redgick. "What kind of emergency? What's the rush to get off the planet all of a sudden?" Jay, choking to death. "Help! Hello!" He starts tugging for all he's worth, but the fight is sort of going against him, as the tentacle pulls him even harder than he tries to pull the baby out. "We just don't like the neighborhood anymore. Some of the new arrivals." Redgick looks at Kay, clearly concealing something, but darts his eyes away. "What new arrivals? Does this have anything to do with the crasher from last night?" "Can you guys do this later?" But at that moment, Jay finally gets a foot up, and the door frame, acquires leverage, and rips the baby free. He falls, flat on his back in the dirt, the multi-tentacled lizard-like baby resting squarely on his chest. Oh, man." Kay turns and claps Redgick on the back. "Congratulations, it's a lizard." Jay looks down at the creature cooing and nestling on his chest. "Hey, it's sorta..." It vomits on him. Back in the car, Jay wipes the last of the puke off his suit while Kay starts up the car. "Anything about that seem unusual to you?" Jay just looks at him, very Jack Benny. "Pick." What kind of new arrival would scare Redgick so bad that he'd risk a warp jump with a newborn? He thinks. "Let's check the hot sheets." Close on various supermarket tabloids as a hand flips through them, there are headlines like "Pope a Father" and "Top Doctors Baffled, Baby Born Pregnant" and "Man Eats His Own House." The subhead on that one is, "And that's just the appetizer," says neighbor. Kay and Jay are at a downtown newsstand. Kay is furiously searching through the tabs. Jay is standing behind him, a little embarrassed. "These are the hot sheets?" Kay pulls a copy of the Weekly World News from the stand and gives the guy $1. "Best damn investigative reports on the planet. But hey, go ahead and read the New York Times if you want. They get lucky sometimes." "You're actually looking for tips in the supermarket tabloid?" "Not looking for. Found." He smacks the paper down on the hood in front of Kay. The pages turn to a headline in the typeface so large, One would think it was reserved for the second coming. Farm wife says, "Alien stole my husband's skin." A flap of skin, now getting gray and crusty with age, hangs off Edgar's neck as he sits in front of his Orkin van. He sucks as hard as he possibly can on a straw stuck into a Jolt Cola. Double the sugar, triple the caffeine. One of a six-pack that sits on the dashboard. Across the street, Edgar sees a short, older man come out of one of the jewelry shops on 35th Street. Edgar drops the soda and stares. The older man, Rosenberg, is carrying a cat and an ornate rosewood jewelry box. Carefully, he sets the box down and lovingly places the cat on top of it while he locks all 5 locks on the door to his distinctive shop. That finished, he picks up the cat, then the box, then waddles off down the street, one under each arm. Edgar drops the truck into gear and follows him, slowly, trawling along behind him. On the street, Rosenberg walks happily along, humming to himself. He gives his cat a little peck. As he rounds a corner, we recognize the tune he's humming. I've got the whole world in my hands. The Orkin van rounds the corner behind him, following. Farmhouse. The LTD pulls to a stop at the end of a driveway that leads to Beatrice's farmhouse, where the alien ship landed. The wrecked pickup truck is still there. Jay and Kay get out, very undercover cop. Jay stares up the driveway. Not so fast. Walk up slow. Why? Part of the routine. Makes it look like we're sizing up the situation. Gives you time to get the wrong impression. Beatrice appears at the door of the house, curious. Puts some fear into her. Makes things go smoother. Beatrice calls to them. Can I help you, gentlemen? Beatrice looks much better than the last time we saw her. More nicely dressed, a touch of makeup, a smile on her face. Kay pulls a black card from his wallet and extends it to her as she draws close. As she reaches for it, the card reforms into an FBI badge. How do you do, ma'am? I'm Special Agent Mannheim. This is Agent Black, FBI. Had a few questions about your visitor. Are you here to make fun of me, too? No, ma'am. We at the FBI don't have a sense of humor that we're aware of. Mind if we come in? Sure. Lemonade? In the living room, Kay sips some of her lemonade and winces. Jay moves through the room, checking it out as Beatrice tells her story. As they said to me, if he was murdered, how could he walk back in the house? And I must admit, I was a little stumped by that one, but I know Edgar, and that wasn't him. It was more like something else that was wearing him, like a suit, an Edgar suit. A little giggle escapes her at the thought. Jay, over by a bookcase, notices a framed photo of Edgar, kneeling in the woods, proudly about to skin a deer. Damn, if he was this ugly before he was an alien. Sorry? Go on. Anyway, when I came to, he was gone. Did he say anything? Yes, he asked for water. Sugar water, if I remember. Sugar water. Did you taste her lemonade? Kay nods, puts on his sunglasses, takes out another pair, hands them to Jay. Kay draws his neutralizer. Flash. Beatrice freezes, staring straight ahead as if hypnotized. Kay takes Jay's sunglasses off and hands them back to him. Ray-Bans. Pulling off Jay's sunglasses. Okay, Beatrice, there was no alien, and the flash of light you saw in the sky was not a UFO. Swamp gas from a weather balloon was trapped in a thermal pocket and refracted the light from Venus. Whoa! That thing erases her memory? And you give her a new one? Standard issue neuralizer. That's the best you can come up with? One of a more personal note, Beatrice. Edgar ran off with an old girlfriend, so go stay at your mother's for a few days and get over it. Decide you're better off. Jay butts in. Yeah, you're better off, 'cause he never appreciated you anyway. In fact, you kicked him out. Now that he's gone, you ought to buy some new clothes, maybe hire a decorator or something. Kay's in the hole where the ship landed, investigating. He holds a pocket spectral analyzer over a section of scorched earth. The analyzer shifts colors. Red, then yellow. Jay, from up outside the hole. Hey, Kay, when am I going to get one of those memory things? The spectral analyzer turns blue. When you're ready. Please, not green. Purple, then green. Kay closes his eyes and sits back, leaning against the dirt. Above him, Jay leans over, staring down. Kay looks up at him. Do you know what kind of alien life form leaves a green spectral trail? Wait, don't tell me. That was a question on Final Jeopardy last night. At the car, Kay snatches up the radio handset and keys the microphone. Zed, we have a bug. He turns off the radio and sighs. Jay stands next to him. I'm going to jump way past you and then guess that this is bad, right? Bugs thrive on carnage, Tiger. They consume, infest, destroy. They live off the death and decay of other species. So basically, you have a racial problem with all insect-based life forms? Listen, kid. Imagine a giant cockroach, 5 times smarter than Albert Einstein, 4 times stronger than an ox, 9 times meaner than hell, strutting his stuff around Manhattan Island in his brand new Egger suit. Does that sound like fun? So what do we do? With a bug in town, watch the morgues. Rosenberg, the jewelry store owner, steps out of a cab in the meat-packing district, still carrying the ornate box and his beloved cat. He heads into Leshko's, a Russian diner. A moment later, the Orkin van pulls to a stop across the street. Rosenberg comes into the tiny restaurant, squinting in the relative darkness. At a table in the middle, he sees a man eating alone. An enormous, dignified, yet profoundly strange-looking man in his mid-50s. Rosenberg walks carefully over to the table, but does not sit down. The man, an Arkelian, and if we're eagle-eyed, we recognize him as the alien on a diplomatic mission from passport control, rises from his chair. He steps forward to face Rosenberg, who sets the ornate box on the table. Immediately, Rosenberg's cat jumps on top of it. Rosenberg and the Arkelian stare at each other for a long moment, then embrace each other. The embrace has an odd, formal quality to it, like a mafiosi coming to a sit-down. They hold on, long and hard, and both seem choked with emotion. Finally, they break apart and take their seats. They speak in a bizarre alien tongue, which is subtitled. Rosenberg wipes away tears. Sorry I'm late. The cab drivers on this planet are terrible. Your Majesty, you are in grave danger. Yeah, and they overcharge you every time. Sir, a bug landed here. We must get you off the planet. A bug? He must know why I'm here. We think he does. Noticing the ornate box on the table. Is that what I think it is? No, just some diamonds for your children. Do we have time to eat? The Arkelian relaxes. Sure, I ordered you some pierogi. In the kitchen, the Russian cook slaps 2 orders of pierogi up on the stainless steel counter. Table 6 is up! And turns away back to the grill. A hand reaches in, takes the plates, and sets them on a tray. We follow the tray, but only see the right hand and aproned midsection of the waiter carrying it. He carries the tray along the counter toward a pair of swinging doors that lead into the restaurant. The door swings in as another waiter sweeps into the kitchen, and our waiter heads out into the dining area. As the doors swing closed behind him, they reveal storage shelves crammed with bags of rice, cans of stewed tomatoes, and a dead waiter, literally folded in half and stuffed in among the shelves. Rosenberg and the Arkelian raise their glasses in a toast. To the continued reign of the Arkelian Empire. To the safety of the galaxy. They clink glasses and drink just as the waiter arrives. Still, we see only his arms and midsection as he sets the tray on a stand and lifts the plates of pierogies. He carries them to the table and sets them down. Rosenberg, setting his glass down next to the plate, catches a glimpse of the waiter's hand. Just as an enormous silverfish bug scurries across the table out of the waiter's sleeve, the glass slips out of Rosenberg's hand, dumping wine all over the table. He looks up slowly and sees the waiter's face. It's Edgar. Another half-dozen insects of all varieties tumble out of Edgar's sleeves and scurry across the table. Rosenberg and the Arkelian freeze, paralyzed with fear. They seem to know what dire implications Edgar's presence holds. Rosenberg, in English, You can kill us both, but you will not find it. Edgar smiles. You're right about one thing. Suddenly, a long stinger whips out from under the back of Edgar's apron and zips under the table. First, Rosenberg, then the Archelian lurch forward their chairs, their faces contorting in pain. They both pitch forward, their faces slogging into fresh pierogi. The stinger snaps out from under the table and whips back under Edgar's apron. He moves quickly, searching their pockets, but he doesn't find what he's looking for. The cat, still perched on top of the ornate box, hisses at him. Edgar reaches out and bats the cat away with one vicious swipe of his hand. The animal howls and flies across the room, landing in a woman's lunch. The woman screams. Now other diners' attention is drawn to Edgar's table, where two obviously dead men are being robbed by a waiter. There are shouts of outrage. A few men rise out of their seats. Edgar grabs the ornate box and tries to open it, but finds it locked. With furor rising around him, he shoves the box under one arm and bolts for the door. Rosenberg's cat leaps back onto the table and snarls at him as he goes. Later, and the Russian diner is now a crime scene, clustered with cops and flashing lights. 3 bodies, now on stretchers and covered with sheets, are being loaded into the back of ambulances. Rosenberg's cat races out of a uniformed cop's arms and leaps onto one of the stretchers, meowing mournfully. The uniformed cop turns to a police inspector, who is questioning the woman from the diner. "What am I supposed to do with this cat?" "I don't know. Send it with the stuff. Let family claim it." The cop nods and follows the stretcher with Rosenberg's body into the back of one of the ambulances, allowing the cat to ride on the chest of its dead owner for the time being. The doors of the wagon slam shut. The stretcher with the corpse on it is wheeled down a corridor in police headquarters. Rosenberg's cat, still on his chest, meows curiously as the stretcher approaches 2 doors with City Morgue written across them. The words split in half as the stretcher bangs through the doors. The City Morgue is a crowded, brightly lit, tilted place with corpses parked left and right. Busy day in the Apple. The cop wheeling the stretcher calls out to the coroner, who's hunched over another body. "Where do you want contestant number 3? The coroner turns around. It's Dr. Laurel Weaver, the woman who tried to speak to Jay before. She sighs and waves a hand. "By the wall, I guess." "What's with the cat?" "Oh, the cat. There's a problem with the cat. Sign here." Laurel signs his clipboard. "What's the problem with the cat?" "Your problem." Laurel gives him a dirty look, but he laughs and leaves. She goes over to the stretcher and bends down, petting Rosenberg's cat gently. "Are you having a bad day, baby? Cheer up." "His is worse," pointing at Rosenberg. She sets the cat aside and wheels the stretcher under the lights. "Okie doke, shall we?" Laurel is hunched over the corpse, the only light in the room coming from the overhead spot that illuminates her work. Fascinated by something, she digs deeper, and looks up, her face a mixture of alarm and excitement. "Oh my God." Kay's LTD pulls up in front of the morgue. 2 men in black suits hurry down the stairs into the corridor outside the morgue. They hasten down the hallway, their shoes clicking in perfect lockstep, heading for those swinging doors at the other end. Jay and Kay, men in black on a mission. In the morgue, Laurel has fallen asleep on her desk, her head in her arms. Rosenberg's cat sits on the desk next to her, licking its paws. Suddenly, the cat looks up, meowing urgently. Laurel looks up and, following the cat's gaze, turns around slowly in her chair. Jay and Kay stand in the doorway staring at her. Kay steps forward, holding out that black cardigan. It reforms into another kind of official ID. This time it says, Department of Public Health. Laurel into the recorder. Approximately 112 degrees at the time of autopsy, indicating quite impossibly a post-mortem increase in body temperature. Examiner attempted to verify result rectally, only to find the subject was, without rectum, which can only be described as, well, really weird. Dr. Leo Manville, Department of Public Health. This is Dr. White. She looks up. Jay and Kay are standing there. Yeah, well, whoever you are, I'm afraid I'm going to need to see some ID. He hands her his carte noire, which changes to read Dr. Menville, Department of Public Health. She hands it back. Checking her watch, "You boys must not have much of a home life." "We watch the morgues very carefully. You got something unusual?" "I'd say so. Triple homicide." She gets up and goes to the Arkelian's body, which is still out on the table under the lights. The first corpse was perfectly normal, except that he was broken in half. But when I opened up the other two, well, look. She throws back a sheet, revealing to them only, not us, the fully dissected Arkelian. Kay raises an eyebrow. Jay nearly retches. "There's a skeletal structure at work here unlike anything I've ever seen." Kay steps past her, going straight to the body. He begins to examine it. "I'll have a look at this one, Dr. White. Why don't you and Dr. Weaver check out the other body?" "This way, Doctor." Jay and Laurel cross the room to where Rosenberg's corpse lies out on another gurney. "This one's even stranger. I did a full laparotomy. I started with the lesser curvature of the stomach, though if you want, we could begin at the gastroesophageal conjunction." I think we should start at the same place you did." "All right." Jay hears a meow and looks down. Rosenberg's cat is rubbing up against his leg. "Your cat?" "Guess it is now. Came in with the bodies." She snaps one of her rubber gloves and reaches down out of frame, sinking her hands into the body as she moves things aside. Just by the look on Jay's face, one can imagine how disgusting it is. Laurel digs in, up to her elbows. Jay winces. She pulls out one bloody glove to wipe a strand of hair out of her face. He looks at her, and she winks at him. He's surprised. She laughs. "Okay, dive right in. God knows he won't mind." Jay is reluctant, so she rolls her eyes and helps him, taking him by the hand and guiding him into the thick of the corpse. "You have pretty eyes." "Thank you, but is this really the time to, come on to me?" "Hey, just walking the dog." "Feel that?" The caloric junction would be. "Ah, yes, exactly." "Now push that aside. Notice anything strange? Stomach, liver, lungs?" "Nope. All fine." "Doctor, they're all missing." Of course they are. What I'm pointing out is that there's no pieces of them left, so they're intact wherever they are. That we can be sure of." "Have we met before? I have the strangest feeling of deja vu." I was just going to ask you the same thing." Laurel looks at him sideways, skeptical, but also intrigued. She whispers to him, confiding in him. "Okay, you really want to know what I think? But don't tell that guy. I think he's already under enough stress. This body is not a real body. It's actually some sort of transport unit for something else altogether. The question is, what?" Jay just looks at her intrigued. "By the way, stop me if I'm freaking you out." "No, not at all." Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It would really help me out if you could go below and hit subscribe, because YouTube algorithms work on subscribers and also viewership time. So if you could also leave a like and maybe even comment a movie that you would like to see on the channel in the near future. Back to the movie. After a particularly gross gushing sound, he looks away, toward her. She's staring at him. Laurel leans over and lowers her voice, just for him. "You know what I really like to do sometimes, when it's really late?" Jay, freaked out. "No." From the other side of the room, Kay clears his throat. "Excuse me." He walks across the morgue to Kay, who is still examining the Arkelian, but Jay never takes his eyes off Laurel. "What do you think?" Jay, "Very interesting. Got a real Queen of the Undead thing going on." "Of the body." "Oh, great body." "The dead body." "Oh, not a clue." "All right, keep her occupied. Try not to sound too dumb." Across the morgue, Laurel is still examining Rosenberg, now bent down next to his head, carefully studying his left ear. She notices something strange, turns and calls over her shoulder to Jay. "Dr. White!" Jay, in conversation with Kay, does not respond to what is not his name. "Dr. White! Dr. White!" He still doesn't answer. Kay nudges Jay. "You're up, slugger." Jay turns and races across the room to rejoin her. "Look at this." Jay leans down. There's a strange stitching around the base of Rosenberg's ear. "What is it?" He reaches out, touches the ear, then he actually turns it. With a soft click, it pulls away from the head, like a latch. Jay and Laurel look at each other astonished. Jay pulls again. Rosenberg's entire face pushes out with a mechanical hum, then hinges open, the whole face rotating out away from the rest of the artificial skull. A tiny little green man sits inside of Rosenberg's head. Though not quite dead, the tiny little green man is gravely wounded. He staggers up out of a small control room inside of Rosenberg's head, with gear shifts and viewing screens all around the inside of the skull. Far freaking out. They lean in closer. The tiny little green man, a Baltian, forces words out of his mouth. Must to prevent contest. Searching for a word. To prevent. It's all right. What are you trying to say? Struggle? War? The Baltian nods vigorously. That's it. The Baltian falters. Galaxy on Orion's belt? Orion's belt? The Baltian nods again, falls, and dies. Jay and Laurel look at the little dead alien, and then at each other. To prevent war, the galaxy is on Orion's belt? What the hell does that mean? He turns around. Hey, Kay! Whatever. Come here. Kay begins over. Dr. Laurel looks at them. Doctor whatever? You're not from the Department of Public Health, are you? Jay shakes his head, but is now paying more attention to Kay as she leads him toward the little man. He's dead. Kay looks at the mess, the body, the little dead man. Rosenberg. Damn, good man. You knew him? One of the few I actually liked. Exiled High Prince. I was right. This is an alien life form, and you're from some sort of government agency who wants to keep it under wraps. Kay and Jay are not paying attention to Laurel. He said to prevent war, the galaxy is on Orion's belt. This makes total sense. How else do you explain New York? The other night I'm in this cab, and this guy... Flash. Without even looking at her, Kay whips out his neuralizer and blanks her out. He said there's a galaxy on Orion's belt. That makes no sense. That's what he said. To the dazed Laurel. Didn't he? Right after he realizes. Oh, for Christ's sake, you did the flashy thing already? Laurel, as if awakening. Hi, whoever you guys are, I'm afraid you're going to need to show some ID if you're going to be in the morgue, okay? Sure thing, sweetheart. Here you go. He neuralizes her again. Jay slaps his hand. Stop that! To Laurel, ignoring Jay, Kay says, typical day, too much caffeine. Get a life. That thing probably gives you brain cancer. Never heard her before. Never heard her before? How many times have you done the flashy thing to this poor woman? Couple. Aren't you worried about, long-term damage? Little bit. What the hell happened to make you such a callous son of a bitch? I took this job. He heads out. Jay follows. Hey, Kay, you never flashed me with that thing, did you? No. Jay and Kay exit the morgue and walk towards their car. Hey, Kay, I really think I should be in charge of the flashy memory thing department. Not while I'm around, Slim. Yeah, well, you're a menace with that thing. An MIB containment vehicle pulls up and 4 men dressed in black suits get out. Kay, to one of the agents, we've got 2 dead aliens in there and a deputy medical coroner in need of a new memory. The Orkin van is parked in an alleyway somewhere downtown. From inside, throaty wails of frustration can be heard. 2 passerby hear the racket and hesitate, wondering if they should get involved. But an inhuman growl rattles the entire van and they wise up, hurrying on their way. Inside the van, the ornate rosewood box is now battered and scarred, its various locks holding tight against Edgar's repeated attempts to claw his way into it. Crammed into the back of the van along with his spaceship, Edgar wedges a screwdriver into the thin opening between the top and the rest of the box and smacks it with his right fist, doing nothing. He bellows in rage and hurls the box across the side of the van, where it finally cracks a hinge. Edgar snaps it up, pries the rest of the hinge off with the screwdriver, and wrenches the top of the box. Inside, there are dozens of precious glittering diamonds, which he promptly tosses aside as worthless, but the rest of the box is empty. No, 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 no! He rips the box apart with his bare hands. There's nothing else in there. As Lower Manhattan is waking up, Jay and Kay enter the building. Despite the early hour, the headquarters is going full blast. The large screen displays the familiar grouping of stars that is the constellation Orion. Jay and Kay hurry in. Kay peels off to one of the monitors. Jay heads for Zed. Doesn't anybody believe in sleep around here? The twins keep us on Alpha Centaurian time. It's a 37-hour day. Give it a few months. You'll get used to it. Or you'll have a psychotic episode. He points up at the screen with a laser pencil. Here's Orion, the brightest grouping of stars in the northern sky. He points. And here's Orion's belt. He indicates 3 stars that make up the belt. That's what the little guy was talking about. To prevent war, the galaxy is on Orion's belt. There is no galaxies on Orion's belt. The belt is just these 3 stars. Galaxies are huge, made up of billions of stars. Switches off the laser pointer. You heard wrong. You're attracted to me, aren't you? Jay starts to cross over to another monitor where Kay is sitting alone, tie loosened, slightly disheveled. On the screen, the word searching blinks, encouraging patience. The image changes to a satellite view of North America, which quickly zooms in on the southwest. On the screen, the satellite view zooms down to Arizona, then a city, then a neighborhood, then a block, then a backyard. The printout changes to subject acquired. The image comes into sharp focus on one backyard in particular, where we get a good look at a middle-aged woman. Subject, Elizabeth Ann Reston, present location, residence, 553 Fairfield Avenue, Temple, Arizona. Whoever Elizabeth Ann Reston is, she's lovely. She's sitting on a picnic table at her backyard at the moment, unaware that she's being watched by an eye in the sky, just as Kay is unaware that Jay is standing behind him. Jay notices the monitor with the middle-aged woman on it. He looks at Kay's expression, then back at the monitor. Pretty lady. Kay clicks off the picture of her. Jay drags a chair and sits down. Jay continues. You were the guy with the flowers in the photo, the night the aliens arrived. What, you were on your way to a dance or something and got lost and she never got the flowers, did she? Kay doesn't answer, just stares at the screen. Elizabeth looks up, as if she knows she's being watched, but she's just looking at the sky, wondering how many stars will be out tonight. Grumpy Guy's story comes into focus. She ever got married? No. It's more than Kay can bear. He reaches out and flicks a switch. The monitor goes blank, except for the data screen. Subject lost. Kay sits back in the chair and eats a potato chip morosely. Jay looks at him. Is this me in 30 years? A moment goes by. Well, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have. Try it. Kay! Jay and Kay cross back toward the LAD, Landed Alien Display, where each of the 1,000 or so aliens who live on Earth are represented by a flickering light. Some lights are starting to go out. They're leaving, he says quietly with dread. We've had 12 jumps in the last 12 hours. Regic just the beginning. What do they know that we don't know? Kay looks to his partner, then to the screen. Another light flickers out. Why do rats desert the ship? To the twins. Go to Limsat 4. Put up a 40-field view of Manhattan. On the screen, New York City is just a bright spot of light on the eastern coast of the United States. 400. Now there's a view of Earth from space. Nothing unusual. 4,000. Now we're looking at Earth from far, far away. From here we can see something that doesn't belong in this picture. A battle cruiser far off to one side of the Earth. The words Level 4 flash in red letters on one side of the map. That's an Archelian battle cruiser. And we've got a dead Archelian prince. A communication starts coming over the speakers. A sound like a cat and a mouse caught in a blender. Message coming in. The communication continues. Speak of the devil. The communication continues. Ooh, they sound pissed. Zed says to the twins, translate that and step on it. Meanwhile, get down to Rosenberg's store and see what you could turn up. Kay and Jay walk away. And Kay, bring a lot of firepower. In the equipment locker, Kay pulls out the enormous many-barreled handgun. A small, clear canister sprouts from underneath it, malicious swirling gases visible through its walls. I like that. Series 4D atomizer. Kay pulls out another weapon, the tiniest gun we've ever seen. Here, we call this the Noisy Cricket. You got a Series 4D atomizer, and I get a Noisy Cricket? I'm afraid I'm going to break it. Jay follows Kay out, glancing back to see a huge gun turrets on the Arkellian battlecruiser hum and whir as they swing around into position, pointed down at the unwitting planet below. Smash! The window in front of the store of Rosenberg's jewelry shop collapses in a shower of glass. Edgar reaches in and fumbles with the locks, undoing them one by one. He gets them all and steps inside. Out the window behind him, we can see his Oregon van, double parked in the street in front. All the gems and jewels are in glass counters. Edgar starts smashing the glass, grabbing great handfuls of jewels and tossing them aside. Outside, a New York City tow truck pulls up in front of the Oregon van and starts to hitch up. Edgar, in his rage, starts to smash anything breakable, even the framed pictures on the wall. He stops at one particular picture, staring intently at it. It's a glamour shot of Rosenberg's cat, provocatively posed on a satin pillow. There are half a dozen more pictures of the cat, some posed with Rosenberg, some by itself. This animal was important to Rosenberg. From outside, the roar of an engine distracts Edgar. He turns around in time to see the Oregon van lurch as the tow lifts its front wheels off the ground. Edgar rushes outside as the tow truck driver gets the van up on the hoist. That's my truck! And make sure you tell them that at the impound. Edgar reaches into the front seat of the van and pulls out his 12-gauge. He points it at the tow truck driver. The tow truck driver looks at him with disdain. Pulling back his shirt reveals a mean-looking gun. I got worse. He keeps hitching up the van. Two pedestrians walk past the dispute, very fast, ignoring the debate, headed right for the shop. We go with them, and realize that it's Jay and Kay. They stop at the smashed door of the jewelry shop and exchange a glance. Kay pulls a very menacing-looking weapon, nods, and they step inside. They look around and see the recent demolition caused by Edgar. Jay furrows his brow. Who robs a jewelry store and leaves the jewels? Someone who's not looking for jewels. Jay moves behind the counter. On the floor is an ornate empty bowl of a bag of cat food, next to a scrumptious pillow. There are several photos of a cat on the wall. There's also a pile of bejeweled cat collars. Jay picks up one of the collars, inspects it closely, shaking his head. This guy had a serious crush on his cat. Jay's attention is broken by something through the window. Outside, lumbering straight for the store, is Edgar. Jay thinks for a moment. Where does he know that face? Suddenly, Edgar raises his arms, pointing both the farmer's rifle and the driver's shotgun. Before Edgar can shoot, Jay yells, Kay, get down! And then Jay fires, shattering the storefront window and blowing up a car on the street. The blast hurls him up and back a good 10 feet, slamming him into the wall with tremendous force. Edgar turns and rushes away down the street as Jay picks himself up. The bug in the Edgar suit! The ugly redneck from the picture! That's him! Jay leaps through the broken storefront window and after Edgar. Kay picking himself up. Damn it! Kay runs out after Jay. Edgar doesn't bother sticking around to continue his fight. He jumps behind the wheel of the tow truck, starts it up, and hits the gas. The engine roars. Jay sprints after him, firing his noisy cricket. He is thrown back into some pedestrians, while his shot hits the rigging between the Orkin van and the tow truck, separating the two. Jay pulls himself up and sprints after the tow truck, but accelerates too quickly. Edgar is just about to turn the corner when Jay leaps into a parked car to try to get some height. As Jay prepares to shoot, Edgar disappears around the corner, and a huge truck backs into his line of fire. Jay fires. The truck explodes, and Jay flies backwards, hurtling through the air and crashing through the window of a car, his rear end right in the woman driver's face. When Jay looks up, Kay is standing before him. He yanks Jay out of the car. "We do not discharge our weapons in view of the public." "Can we drop the cover-up bullshit? There's an alien battlecruiser that's gonna blow up the world if we don't." "There's always an alien battlecruiser or a Corlean death ray or an intergalactic plague about to wipe out the life on this planet. The only thing that lets people get on with their hopeful little lives is that they don't know about it." Kay gestures to a group of onlookers drawn by the curious blasts from the store. There's smoking rubble everywhere. "Don't worry about the bug. He's not leaving town. We've got his ship." After gesturing to the back of the Orkin van where Edgar's spaceship is neatly stowed, Kay pulls out his cell phone. "Jay, we're going to need a containment crew down here at McDougal, south of Houston." Back at the Men in Black headquarters, the little lights on the world map which indicate aliens' locations are going out one by one, about one every 5 or 10 seconds. A warning buzzer is sounding over and over, and human staffers are rushing left and right. Zed is in his office. "Containment may be a moot point, my friend. The exodus continues. It's like the party's over and the last one to leave gets stuck with the check." Zed looks down to the vast floor below and sees the 4 worm guys with suitcases walking across the floor. "You sorry little ingrates!" "What about the Archelians?" "We've only translated a part of the message so far. Deliver the galaxy." "Ah, they don't want much, do they?" "Oh, it gets better. They're holding us responsible." He looks up at the screen. It reads, "Deliver the galaxy." "Another contestant has entered the ring." As Kay puts away his phone, he turns to Jay. "All right, kid, the Archelians want the galaxy, whatever the hell that means. We need help. A professional. Someone with years of experience in intergalactic politics. I just hope the little prick hasn't skipped town." The tow truck squeals to a halt at the curb. Edgar gets out and walks away fast, cursing under his breath. He rants, livid, thinking hard. As he passes a newsstand, he grabs the news vendor by the collar. "Where do you keep your dead?" "I don't have any dead." "Where?" I don't know, the city morgue." Edgar shoves him away roughly, but before he leaves, his eye catches a postcard display marked "Landmarks of New York City Area." Edgar stares fascinated, but we don't know what he's looking at. He reaches out and picks up a color postcard. He raises it to his face thinking, then shoves it into his pocket and hurries off. Kay's LTD screeches to a halt in front of the kiosk on Orchard Street. Jay and Kay leap out and Jay spots the vendor, closing up shop. He's wearing a dirty cardigan, watch cap, fingerless gloves, his face a quiver with tics and mannerisms. He has a small dog in front of him. Jay rolls his eyes as they step up to the counter. "Of course that guy's an alien. It's got to be the worst disguise I've ever seen." A voice answers him, but not the vendor's. "You don't like it? You can kiss my furry little butt." Jay looks down. The voice is coming from the dog. This is Frank the pug. Kay approaches, motioning to Jay to make sure no one hears. "You busy, Frank?" "Sorry, Kay. Can't talk right now. My ride's leaving and..." Kay grabs Frank. He yelps like a dog. "Call the police. We've got a stray." "Hey, keep your paws off me." Passerbys glare at Kay, who appears to be seriously mistreating this poor little dog. Jay tries to explain. The dog owes my friend some money." Kay says to Frank, "Archelians and bugs, what do you know?" "I know nothing." "Not a thing?" Kay shakes Frank the pug, trying to force an answer. "Stop it! Oh, okay. Rosenberg wasn't some two-bit Archelian. He was the guardian of the galaxy. They thought he would be safe here on Earth. And the bug had other plans. The galaxy's the best source for subatomic energy in the universe. If the bugs got their slimy little claws on it, kiss the Archelians goodbye." "Ask him about the belt." "Rosenberg said something about a galaxy on Orion's belt. What you think he's talking about?" "Beats me." Kay shakes Frank the pug once more. To a person passing by. "They're rehearsing a ventriloquist act." "The galaxy is here." "Here?" "The galaxy is 100 millions of stars and planets. How's it here?" If a dog can smirk, Frank does. "You humans, when you gonna learn that size doesn't matter? Just 'cause something's important doesn't mean it's not very, very small." "How small?" "Tiny, like the size of a marble or a jewel. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to be walked before my flight. Kay lets go of Frank, turns to Jay, who is lost in thought. Kay to Frank the pug, get out of here. Then to Jay, the galaxy's here. It's not on Orion's belt. Jay suddenly notices Frank the pug bark at a cat further down the sidewalk. Kay? In the morgue, Laurel is working at a desk when suddenly Rosenberg's cat leaps up onto it from nowhere, the way cats do, landing right in the middle of the file she's studying. Laurel jumps. Boy, when you want attention. She pets the cat. As she does, the cat's collar shines in the light. Laurel turns the name tag to face her. Close on a precious jewel, the word Orion, as it is written across the collar of the cat. Orion, that's a pretty name. From out of the corridor, a bell rings. Ding ding. Laurel notices something dangling from the cat's collar, a circular icon of a strange and beautiful metal. The center is some sort of hardened, translucent material, light green in color. What's this? She peers into the jewel, and her face washes over with amazement. It's as if Laurel is sucked into another universe. Her face goes beatifically blank as she sails through a massive star field, millions of stars, billions of green, verdant planets, all racing by her at the speed of light. Outside, the bell dings again. Orion looks up, as if knowing who's out there and not liking it. She snarls at the door and leaps off the desk, scurrying across the lab and disappearing under some equipment. So 2 galaxies have been fighting for years, and the only people who have been benefiting are a race of creatures called bugs. Then the 2 galaxies decide to make peace. The bugs send this guy down to make sure the fighting never stops, by killing the emissaries and stealing the galaxy they've been fighting about. And if we don't get it back before he leaves the planet, we're history. We're not even history. History implies there's someone around to remember it. On a counter in the morgue corridor, a gray, peeling hand bangs on a bell on a countertop over and over. The hand belongs to Edgar, who is carrying his shotgun, concealing it behind one leg. The morgue attendant, Tony, emerges from a small security cage, carrying a copy of Atlas Shrugged and a fly swatter. Thank you for making sure the bell works. Suddenly, quick as a gunfighter, Tony snaps the fly swatter down on a buzzing fly. Edgar winces. What's up, Farmer John?
A man came in here earlier. A dead man.
And this means what to me?
He was a very dear friend of mine, and I believe he had an animal with him, a gift I gave him, a pet cat that means worlds to me. I'd like to get it back.
I'll need a picture ID, written proof of the ownership of the cat, and notarized proof of kinship with whack. Tony flicks the fly swatter again, sending another bug to meet its maker. Edgar grits his teeth. The deceased.
Don't do that.
Whack! Still another fly goes down.
Do what?
Tony looks down to where Edgar's hand rests on the counter. Half a dozen cockroaches stream out of his sleeves. Shit! He ducks under the counter and comes up with a can of Raid. Edgar's eyes bug out. Kay's LTD pull to a stop in front of the morgue, and Jay and Kay jump out. I'll handle this one. You wait outside. What the hell for? Because all we have to do is walk in, get the cat. It's not that hard. But if you go in, you're going to lay your jackweb on her and flash your brain ray in her face, and she's going to end up with leukemia or some shit. The woman's a doctor. She doesn't need you erasing half her med school classes. Take me 5 minutes. He continues into the morgue, leaving Kay waiting outside. 2 minutes. Laurel slams into a wall on one side of the morgue, thrown there by Edgar. He leans in, close, furious.
Where is the animal?
I told you I don't know. It ran under some equipment over there.
Get it!
He grabs her roughly and drags her across the morgue, toward the equipment she pointed to. As they draw close, Orion the cat bolts from underneath it, races between her legs, and leapfrogs over several small cabinets, landing on top of a very tall one, with only 6 inches clearance between it and the ceiling. A very tough hiding place. Edgar just starts to turn when they hear the bell and a voice from the corridor outside. Hello? Anybody here? Edgar looks up at the cat's hiding place. No time to get it. The bell dings again. Roughly, Edgar pulls Laurel close and puts a finger to his lips. Shh. In the corridor, Jay looks around. No Tony, no answer to the bell. He dings once more, then heads into the back. Jay comes into the morgue. Laurel is in there, standing right up next to an examination table, but there's no corpse on the table, just a sheet draped over it. She just stands there in the middle of the room staring at Jay. Hi. Hello. He flashes his badge. I'm, Sergeant Friday from the 26th Precinct. They brought a cat in here with a corpse the other day. Might have said Orion on the cat's name tag. Yeah, that's right. Well, the cat's a witness in a murder case, and, I'm gonna need to take it with me. I don't know where the cat is at the moment. Oh, you don't? Lowers his voice to a whisper. Maybe you could take me with you instead. Jay looks at her. Excuse me? I said maybe you could take me with you instead. Damn, you really start fast, don't you? I'd really like to go with you. Now. Jay just looks at her, amazed at the power he seems to have over this woman. He looks over his shoulder to make sure he has a few more seconds alone. And, what exactly is that? Laurel rolls her eyes. She seems irritated with him, but it doesn't go with what she's saying. I just do. Kay comes down the stairs and into the morgue corridor. He checks his watch, then leans against the counter and pulls out a pack of cigarettes, waiting. Jay is thoroughly enjoying himself, but Laurel seems to be going crazy. I have something to show you. She looks down, pointedly, in the direction of her waist. Now slow down. You don't have to hit the gas like that. She leans in and lowers her voice. You don't understand. You really need to see this. And I will. But we gotta get something straight here. I'm gonna drive. It's not some sort of macho trip. It's just the way I'm used to doing things, okay? Kay pulls out a box of matches and strikes one on the side. He raises it to his cigarette, but as it draws close, the match goes out with a sharp sizzle. He furrows his brow. Odd. Laurel is at the end of her rope. Look, stud, I don't know how many more times I'm going to have to tell you this. There's something, she points sharply at the examination table directly in front of her, that you have to help me with. Jay's smile vanishes and his jaw drops as he figures it out. He starts to reach for his gun. Kay raises another lit match to his cigarette, but as this one gets close, a big glob of goo drops from the ceiling onto the match, dousing the flame. Kay looks up sharply. Above him, Tony, the counter guy, is stuck to one high corner of the ceiling by an enormous wad of viscous, dripping fluid. He's dead, a frozen look of terror on his face, the can of Raid still clutched in his hand. From inside the morgue, Laurel screams. Kay races into the morgue just as the examination table explodes into the air, revealing Edgar, who is hiding beneath it. Now everything happens at once. Jay leaps back and draws the noisy cricket. Kay pulls out his Series 4 deatomizer, and Edgar holds his shotgun under Laurel's chin, using her body to shield his own. Freeze it, bug. Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Laurel to Jay. Christ, are you thick? How was I supposed to know? What did I have to do, sing it for you? Well, maybe if you didn't come on like a drunken prom date. Oh, that is so typical. Anytime a woman shows a slight hint of sexual independence, men just, everybody shut up. Let her go, shit-eater. Listen here, monkey boy. I may have to take that kind of talk in my end of the universe, but compared to you humans, I'm the top rung on the evolutionary ladder, so can it, alright? You're breaking my heart. Move 6 inches to your left and I'll solve all your problems. Orion the cat suddenly attacks, leaping off the top of the cabinet and landing on Edgar, hissing and scratching and clawing for all she's worth. Edgar snaps an arm up and whips her off. The cat squirms in his arms, the icon jangling. Edgar grabs the icon, holding onto it, and flings the cat away, across the morgue. The icon comes free, remaining in his hand. He drops it into his mouth and swallows. He shoves the gun hard against Laurel's cheek. That's better. Now put down your weapons. We're leaving. Kay freezes, teeth clenched, gun still in front of him. Standoff. Have you ever pulled the wings off a fly? Edgar cranks one of Laurel's arms behind her back hard and she cries out in pain.
Would you care to see the fly get even?
How far do you think you'll get without your ship? If that's what you call that hunk of space crap we've got back at our office.
Put the weapons down.
Never gonna happen, insect. Edgar backs away with Laurel, further into the morgue, towards a glass window that looks out at the base of an air shaft. J and K advance, slowly cornering him. It's okay, Laurel. How is it okay? I mean, it's gonna be okay.
Don't bet on it, mate sack.
And with that, he turns, leaps, and crashes right through the window into the air shaft. Edgar, still clutching Laurel, explodes over a railing outside. Nobody looks twice as Edgar, dragging Laurel, with his arm over her mouth, races toward the nearby busy Manhattan Street. J and K duck into the air shaft and look up. Too far to climb, and the walls are smooth anyway.
Damn it!
They turn and run out of the morgue. Edgar, with Laurel, runs right in front of a cab, which screeches to a halt inches from them. The cabbie sticks his head out and yells something in an unknown language, and keeps yelling as Edgar reaches through the passenger side and pulls the cabbie out the door, cigarette and wood seat beads and all. The cab driver is still yelling as Edgar leaps in, pushing Laurel in before him and leaving her behind the wheel. He removes a postcard, the one he took from the display on the newsstand.
Take me here.
What? Edgar just cranks the car into gear, opening his mouth and swallowing the icon, and in so doing, revealing a triple row of serrated bug teeth. He slams his foot on the gas pedal. Laurel's head snaps back as the car rocks forward. She has no choice but to grab the wheel and start steering, as the car screeches out into traffic, swerving wildly as Laurel is forced to make a 90-degree turn. The car fishtails wildly, swiping an oncoming car as it straightens and heads into traffic. The furious cab driver runs off after it, still yelling as he disappears around the corner. A second later, K and J rush out onto the street. The cab is nowhere to be seen. J runs into the street, noticing the wooden beads, ripped pine-scented green deodorizer, and the still-burning cigarette. They're in a cab. And J starts running down the street, where dozens of cabs are waiting at the intersection. He's running from cab to cab, pounding on windows, scaring the living shit out of people. Hey, Laurel! Hey! But Laurel and Edgar are nowhere to be found. Up ahead, the light turns green and the tide of taxis wash away, leaving Jay on the street. He turns as a car screeches up behind him, its headlights shining in his eyes. As it gets closer, Jay sees it's K in the LTD. Stop wasting time. He's not getting off the planet in a cab. J and K rush in from the door under the World's Fair mural and head toward the main display screen. All around them, the MIB staffers are in frenetic activity in response to the threat from above. K, to attack at the desk. Come with me. Put up a bayonet all the way around Manhattan. If it's not human, it's not leaving the island. What have we got from our friends upstairs? Same thing. Deliver the galaxy. Yeah, well, the bug's got the galaxy, but we've got his ship. He's got to be looking for a way out. Just then, a loud alarm wails. At the main viewing screen, a green line shoots from the Archelian's ship, striking a region of planet Earth. What the hell are they shooting at us for? Archelian battle rules, kid. First we get an ultimatum, then a warning shot, then we have a galactic standard week to respond. A galactic standard week? How the hell long is that? 1 hour. 1 hour? Viewing the screen, it now reads, Deliver the galaxy, or the Earth will be destroyed. Sorry. To keep the bugs from getting it, the Archelians will destroy the galaxy and whatever planet it's on. You're talking about us! Sucks, doesn't it? Pull up the location of all land-based interstellar vehicles. They're all gone. Frank the Pug took the last ship on the planet. As K and Z watch as the machine scrolls through the data, Jay walks back toward the center of the room, deep in thought. Over him we hear, Atlantic City. Gone. That landfill on the Jersey Shore? Gone. Gentlemen, Epcot? Gone. Miami Beach? Gone. Fellas? Hartford? Gone, thank God. Hey, old guys! K and Z both look up at once, scowling. Do those still work? They follow his gaze up over the computer terminals. There, on the wall in front of them, where it has loomed for the entire movie, is the enormous mural of the 1964 World's Fairgrounds. Most prominent in the mural are two tall towers that rise dramatically from the ground, topped by the two flying saucers from the very first Alien Contact. As they stand there wide-eyed, staring at it, we get the real-live twin towers on the actual fairgrounds in the Flushing Meadows. A taxi screeches to a halt at the edge of a fence 100 yards away. Edgar shoves Laurel out through the driver's door and follows behind her, still holding his weapon on her.
"You're coming with me."
"What? Why?"
"It's a long trip. I'll need a snack."
And he shoves her ahead of him off in the direction of the spaceships. Behind him, abandoned on the front seat of the cab, we finally see the front of the postcard he's been carrying around. Flushing Meadows, site of the 1964 World's Fair. It says with a distinctive photograph of the spaceships. That's how he knew. Nighttime now, and the city hums along. Just another Thursday night. The clock in Columbus Circle says it's 7:45. TVs in the window of an appliance store show the rerun of Cheers. People laugh. The news ticker in Times Square announces the latest shattering news. Rain likely. Temps drop to the 60s. Earthlings pass left and right, blissfully unaware of their impending doom. Kay and Jay leap into Kay's LTD and slam the doors. Kay jams the key in the ignition, the car roars to life, and he turns to Kay. "What do you say we bag us some bug?" He hits the gas, and the car rockets away from the curb. The LTD tears through the city. Kay turns sharply to the right, smacking Jay around. Looking up ahead, he sees the entrance to the Midtown Tunnel. "You're taking the tunnel? You know a better way to get to Queens? It's usually jammed." The LTD races through the tunnel at top speed. It's clear driving for a few seconds, but when they round a bend, there's a traffic jam up ahead. Kay approaches the line of cars at top speed, with no intention of slowing down. Jay, terrified, holds on for dear life. "I told you!"
"Jay, the button."
"Yeah?"
"Push the button, Jay."
A lighted panel rotates into place between the two front seats. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. It would really help me out if you could go below and hit subscribe, because YouTube algorithms work on subscribers and also viewership time. So if you could also leave a like and maybe even comment a movie that you would like to see on the channel in the near future. Back to the movie. That red button flashes underneath its plastic shield again. Jay flips back the plastic cover and jams his finger down on the red flashing button.
"You might want to throw on a seatbelt."
As the LTD rockets toward the traffic jam ahead, it begins to evolve, its shape actually changing. The sides and back extend as some sort of endoskeleton pushes the normal panels out. It becomes larger, wirier machine, held together by an elaborate series of mechanical muscles and metallic tendons. Kay's car hurtles towards certain death in a traffic jam, but at the last possible moment, it swerves off to the side, a sucking sound coming from underneath it. Instead of banging off the wall of the tunnel, the LTD actually clings to it. It swerves up onto the wall and hangs there, racing by the traffic below. It keeps going, turning all the way over and driving upside down, wheels clinging to the roof of the tunnel. Jay falls from his seat with a clunk onto the upside-down ceiling of the car. Balled up on the back of his neck, he peers out the window as they tear through the tunnel, zooming over the bottlenecked traffic underneath. As they race through the tunnel, they have a minute to kill. "Mind if I smoke?"
"What?"
"In the car, I mean."
I don't care."
"Hey, just a common courtesy. It bothers some people if you smoke in a car." He lights a cigarette and blows the smoke out leisurely, one hand on the wheel, just waiting out of the tunnel. Jay gives up struggling to right himself and closes his eyes, suffering through this. From outside the car, we watch it rocket along on the roof of the tunnel. We hear Kay's voice as he goes on and on. It's harder and harder to smoke anywhere these days. Hell, I suppose I should quit." "I've tried. Never took, though. I'm beginning to think I lacked self-control." And they disappear out the other end of the tunnel and flip over, banging back onto the road on the other side. Jay falls off the ceiling and slams onto his seat. "Well, back to work." He flips his cigarette out the window and cranks the wheel to the left. Approaching a toll booth, the LTD shoots across 9 lanes of traffic and through the only open booth, shattering the gate. Traveling at about 200 miles an hour, Kay nonchalantly flips a token out the window, and it chinks into the basket as their taillight disappears. Edgar climbs the outside of the landing tower on one of the spaceships, pushing Laurel up ahead of him, heading for the saucer at the top. "Come on, let me go. You don't want to eat me. I'm a very important person on my planet, like a queen, a goddess even. There are those who worship me. Yes, I'm not trying to impress you with this. I'm just letting you know it could start a war."
Good. War means food for my family. All 78 million of them. That's a lot of mouths to feed, Your Highness.
"You're a wonderful dad." And with that, she kicks him squarely in the face. He reels, momentarily losing his grip on her. She takes advantage of the moment and flings herself out into the air. Edgar flails, but she is beyond reach. She falls, tumbling through the air, and lands in the branches of a tree. She hits hard, the branches rattling, and reaches out and hangs on for dear life high above the ground. Above, Edgar just keeps climbing. Over at the fence, the LTD comes to a long, skidded stop at the fairgrounds. Jay and Kay flip open the trunk and scarf up whatever weapons look most dangerous. Kay grabs a black box, unsnaps a row of latches, and opens it, revealing the most wicked-looking shotgun on the planet. 3 feet long, triple-barreled, over and under, plus a pump-action reloader on top of a storage clip for a dozen more shells. The shells themselves are solid, glistening like polished steel. Kay loads up the clip. You know how to work that?" Kay pumps it once with extreme confidence. "No idea whatsoever." He slams the trunk, revealing the flying saucers sitting atop their columns in the distance. "Let's bag us some bug." As if on cue, one of the saucers begins to hum. Then it starts to spin, faster and faster. The ship begins to rise. Oh shit. Laurel sits in her tree, watching with amazement. At Shea Stadium, a Mets game is in progress. Behind the home plate side, the flying saucer silently rises up the night sky, plainly visible. But at that very moment, the batter cracks into a fastball hard. The crowd rises to its feet, shouting, staring out at center field, where the ball is headed. All eyes in the house are on the Mets' center fielder, except for his eyes, which are on the flying saucer behind home plate. His eyes widen, his jaw drops. The catchable ball sails over his head, thudding into the wall behind him. The crowd boos viciously. Kay raises the weapon he took from the trunk, looks over at Jay. "Set it to pulsar level 5, subsonic implosion factor." "What?" "Press the little green button on 3. Jay raises his weapon. They press their green buttons. 1, 2. They pull their triggers. For a moment, nothing happens, as if it were a misfire. But then, there's a vacuum whump, like all the air in the immediate area being sucked into the space size of a dime, and a tremendous shockwave rolls out from the barrel of the guns. Jay and Kay are sucked to the ground by a bizarre force, thudding to their stomachs like magnets to a refrigerator. The shockwaves wrinkle across the open space between them and the ship, then it hits, and it too is sucked back down, hurtling back toward them. Laurel flinches as the flying saucer shoots overhead. The saucer crashes through the Unisphere, an enormous steel globe, and thuds to the earth, crashing through brush, dirt, and rock. Jay and Kay come to their feet. In front of them, the dust clears, trees uprooted, stones and dirt thrown everywhere. A dumpster has been cast to their left, and the saucer is there, embedded in the earth, tipped off kilter in a mountain of debris. A hatch opens up, revealing Edgar, walking slowly towards them with contained fury.
"You don't get it. I've won. It's over."
"You are under arrest for violating number 4153 of the Tycho Accord. Please hand over any galaxy you might be carrying."
"You milk suckers. You don't matter. In a few seconds, you won't even be matter."
"Move away from the vehicle and put your hands on your head." He pumps the gun for emphasis.
"Put my hands on my head?"
Edgar stares at him, then flexes his arms, still encased in flesh. His giant pincers rip free of the rotting skin. He extends both pincers to the sides, and my God, his reach must be 12 feet across. Now the skin and clothes on Edgar's legs begins to crack and shred. They burst apart, revealing two hideous doubled-over insect legs. The bug raises himself aloft on his legs. He sucks in a deep breath of air, and now the rest of Edgar's suit goes the way of his arms and legs. The torso explodes in a great rendering of skin and cloth, and finally, Edgar's head simply bursts apart, spattering against the walls. Edgar now reveals himself as he really is, a hairy, bug-like exoskeleton, a scaly tail with a long stinger, a head like a cobra with elliptical eyes and a small nose, two horse-like feet with 3 toes on each. He raises his pincers in the air, resting them on his head. The galaxy hangs on a chain around his neck.
Like this?
K and J pump their guns and aim it at the bug. Suddenly, the bug spits, and a huge slimy wad of goo shoots from him and engulfs both shotguns. The bug snorts it back, tearing them from J and K's grasp, then swallowing them. K and J only have a second to react before the bug swipes at them with the back of his clawed hand, like someone brushing aside a gnat, and sends them flying 15 feet in the air. Laurel, still from the tree, flinches as she sees them hit the ground. She starts to climb. J and K hit the ground with a loud grunt. That did not go at all like I had planned. They look up to see the bug moving for his second tower, and the second flying saucer. K gets to his feet. This guy's really starting to bug me. K starts walking after the bug. Whatever happens, J, don't let him get on that ship. Where you going? Getting my gun back. What? K steps forward and yells at the departing bug. Hey, bug! The bug just keeps moving toward the ladder. I'm talking to you, bug. You know how many of your kind I've swatted with a newspaper? The bug turns toward K. K steps up to him, the small human facing off against the giant alien bug. Laurel quietly makes it to the ground, hurries off to the darkness of the woods. K has himself in the bug's face, its dripping fangs inches from K's face. You're just a smear on a sports page to me, you slimy, gut-sucking intestinal parasite. Eat me! The bug reacts, cranks open its massive jaws with a deafening hiss, lunges forward and sucks K into his mouth. The bug straightens up to its full height and throws its head back. K slides down the bug's throat, bending it sideways as he kicks and screams his way down into the abdomen. J looks on in stunned horror. As the bug turns to J and stretches to its full height and lets loose a hideous, screaming howl of triumph. Laurel is still watching from the woods. J watches as the bug continues its howl of triumph. He feels totally defeated, but he can hardly believe his eyes as he looks at the bug's stomach. Through the leathery pouch of the bug's stomach, we can just make out the distended outline of 2 atomizers. Just a few inches from it, a human hand is reaching toward the gun. K, swimming in the bug's intestinal fluid, tries to make his way to the gun, holding his breath, eyes stinging. J knows what he has to do. He picks up a good-sized chunk of concrete dislodged by the crashing saucer and hurls it at the bug. Hey, come over here and try that! The concrete thunks off the bug's shell. He doesn't seem to notice, just keeps moving. J picks up a twisted metal pole and runs at the bug. Stop right there or I'll start wailing on your waxy pointed ass. J starts pounding on the bug with the metal pole. K almost has his fingers around the stock of the gun. The pounding on the outside distracts him and he turns. The gun shifts away. The bug grabs the metal pole and yanks it out of J's hands. He swings at J. J dodges the blow and falls to the grass. The bug slices down with razor-sharp claws at J, but he rolls out of the way, just as the mean-looking claws dig into the grass. J rolls right underneath the bug's legs. His hands falls on something like the grass, another piece of debris, a sharp metal spike gleaming like a dagger. He grabs the metal spike and looks up at the bug's apparently vulnerable underbelly right above him. He grabs the spike with both hands and is about to thrust the spike up into the bug's gut when the bug bends its head down between its legs. Bug's point of view of J there upside down from this perspective, lurking between its legs. The bug opens his jaws and snaps at J. who propels himself backward out of harm's way. The bug starts climbing the tower. Jay howls in frustration. "What are you, afraid of me? Come on, stand up and fight like an arthropod." In frustration, Jay screams and throws himself on the bug, hanging onto its back, trying to drag it down. "You want a piece of this, huh? Maybe you're a badass in your hive, but this is New York City. You're just another tourist here." The bug flicks him off with his tail, sending him sailing 20 feet through the air. Jay crashes into the dumpster, landing on a heap in front of the garbage. But, scratched and beat up, Jay still doesn't quit. He stands to yell at the bug, extending his arm at the creature. "You're messing with the wrong species, bug." He notices something on his arm, a cockroach running down his sleeve. He flicks it off, looks at the ground, looks over to the dumpster behind him, and there are more of them, a whole mob, 50 or 60 of the critters climbing out of a rusted hole in the dumpster. He has one last desperate idea. He kicks the dumpster. Part of the side is rusted paper thin, and it kicks apart and crumbles to pieces. Tens of thousands of roaches pouring forth from the dumpster, crawling like a black glittering river away from the garbage. Jay leaps to his feet and moves to the glistening mob of insects. "Hey, bug!" Jay steps on a roach. Crunch. The bug hates that sound. He flinches on the ladder. Jay smiles. "If I'm not mistaken, that was a cousin of yours." He knows he's getting to him. He steps toward the bug, moving his foot over another roach. He crushes another one. "Whoa, that gotta hurt. What do you know? It's your old Uncle Bob." He steps forward again. Crunch. The bug turns around, anger burning in his eyes. Kay's hand reaches closer and closer to the gun. Jay keeps moving forward toward the bug, finding new roaches to tread on. Holds his foot over another one. "What's that? Can you hear what he's saying? Help me, help me." Crunch. The bug starts to climbing down and moving toward Jay. They are moving toward each other on a showdown. Jay moves on, poising his feet over another roach. "Oh, there's a pretty one. That one looks kind of familiar, don't you think? I know who that is." The bug is right over Jay now, jaws dripping, ready to gobble him up. "Don't do that." Jay stares right at the bug. Inside, he sees Kay's hand closing around the trigger of the shotgun. He brings it around, pointing it up straight at the bug's head. "That's your mama." He moves to crunch the roach. The bug moves to chomp Jay. Jay stares up at him, unflinching. "Didn't she ever tell you not to bite off more than you can chew?" And at that very moment, Kay blasts a hole right in the middle of the bug's midsection. The front of the bug's thorax explodes in a shower of bug juice all over Jay. The bug flies into two pieces, the butt end sailing one way, the head flying behind Jay. Kay falls out of the bug in a mess of goo, gasping for breath, dropping the atomizer from his slippery fingers. The other gun sails off into the darkness. The icon drops to the ground, rolls over to Jay's feet, and clatters to a rest like a silver dollar on a barroom floor. He calmly bends down and picks it up. Jay is pissed and starts in on Kay. "You son of a..." Kay holds up a finger in a "wait a minute" gesture, pulls out of his pocket a phone and hits a number. "Zed, get a message to the Arkellians. We have the galaxy." Zed is standing at the console, a smile on his face. He glances over at the console that displays alien arrivals and departures on the Earth. The red lights are coming back on. "I think the word's already out. Our friends are coming back. Got an authorized landing at Times Square. You and Jay check it out on the way back and pick me up one of those soft pretzels while you're at it. Extra salt. I feel like celebrating." Kay flips the phone closed. "You were saying?" "Getting eaten. Was that your plan?" "It worked." As they argue, behind them, unseen, the front half of the bug raises itself up on its forearms, eyes gleaming with hate, jaws dripping, ready to lower itself onto Jay and Kay. "After I got the shit beat out of me, I almost got digested. Goes with the job. You could have told me what you were doing. There was no time, sport." Hiss. The bug attacks, swinging its head down on them. They turn to see it, and just before the jaws snap down on their heads, boom! The bug's head explodes into a million bits. Bug juices shower down everywhere, buckets full of goo drenching J and K even further. They turn to see Laurel, standing behind the dead bug, the other atomizer in her hands, the barrel smoking. The weapon and Laurel dripping from bug innards. Interesting job you guys got. We cut to the interior of a car. The driver sees something tumbling toward the windshield. He winces. The bug's remains splat against the windshield. The driver grimaces at the mess. Damn bugs. He reaches down and hits a button. Wiper fluid squirts onto the windshield, and the wipers spread the bug goo everywhere. Kay's LTD is parked outside the Men in Black headquarters. Laurel leans her back against the car. We see J and K walking away in the distance. Look, I know we got rules, but she did just bust the bug for us, so maybe you don't have to flashy thing her. Kay pulls out the neuralizer. Who's she gonna tell anyway? She only hangs out with dead people. Not her. Me. They're beautiful, aren't they? The stars. I never just look anymore. They are beautiful. Kay, you're scaring your partner. I haven't been training a partner. I have been training a replacement. Oh no, I can't do this job by myself. Walking towards them, Laurel says, Hey guys, we're nowhere near my apartment. We're not even on the right island. Maybe you don't have to. Kay starts dialing back the neuralizer. Days, months, years. Always face it forwards. He hands the neuralizer to Jay, taps his pocket, indicates for him to put his glasses on. Jay resists. I've just been down the gullet of an interstellar cockroach. That's one of 100 memories I don't want. Jay takes the neuralizer, slips on his glasses. See you around, sport. Jay raises the neuralizer. With a brilliant flash, the screen turns white. No, you won't. Close on various tabloid headlines as a hand flicks through them. Here's one. Mets center field says, UFO made me miss home run ball. And another, Detroit has car that defies gravity. And a third, man awakens from 30-year coma, returns to girl he left behind. A large photograph showing a smiling Kay arm in arm with Elizabeth Reston, his long-lost fiancée, in her backyard in Tempe, Arizona. He holds a large bouquet of flowers, the same kind he bought but never gave her 30 years ago. Jay, who's reading the paper, smiles. At the curb, Jay hurries back to the LTD with the newspapers. L, formerly Laurel, is waiting, leaning against the hood. Tailored black suit, black shoes, short cropped hair. The look never looked better. Zed called. The High Consulate of Regent 9 Emissary wants floor seats to the Knicks Bulls game. I'll talk to Dennis Rodman. It's his damn planet. Let's roll. Both car doors slam. Jay drops it in gear, and the LTD blasts away from the curb. The LTD is just one of many cars in a jam-packed Manhattan city block. From up in the clouds we see Manhattan itself is just part of a much larger urban and suburban sprawl. From the stratosphere, the east coast of the United States is just part of a much larger landmass. From the eosphere, North America is just a small portion of the planet Earth. Earth is just a tiny ball in our solar system. Our solar system is just a few blips of light in a vast star field. The Milky Way is just a creamy spiral amid innumerable other creamy spirals. There seems to be an edge to what we see, a curved border that seems to close in on things around the perimeters until everything that exists seems to be contained in one tiny ball, which is actually a marble resting on a strange-looking patch of red dirt. An alien reaches down and flicks the marble, sending it skittering and bouncing across the dirt, where it clicks into a dozen other big blue balls just like it. Thank you for listening to this, a reading of the script of Men in Black 1997. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe below and press the bell notification button so you never miss another movie reading. See you in the next video.